everybody. Welcome back. Welcome. It's Sunday night / probably more likely Monday morning. And it's time for the RageSelect podcast right here on RageSelect. I'm Jeff.
I'm Blake.
And Blake, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
We're doing this over Zoom, which we do stuff in person, but I was like, well, it's just the podcast, so we could do this over Zoom.
Yeah, and I have a really cool setup, and I was able to fix it because last time we tried to do this, it was like a loud hiss. So hopefully everybody's hearing my smooth voice, all good to go.
Sounds great. I also get to see where you record. You've got. Tell me about these like stacks of shoes behind you. I'm like I don't care about shoes, guys. So I have like 2 pairs of shoes, and I only wear 1 pair. And when they wear out, I just buy the exact same shoes on Amazon and get like just another pair of
you
the
like
same.
what you like. You like what you like. No, I think the funniest thing is I've been recording at your place. I don't know how many. Has it been a year? It's been over a year, right? Like we've been doing it for quite some time. I don't remember when I first started doing the videos. It's been some time, but I've worn different shoes every time I've come over. And there has been one episode, I don't remember what video it was, where you were like, "Hey, I like your shoes," and I was like, "Jeff, I've been over here every day and I've switched shoes." You're like, "I've never noticed." It was the funniest thing ever. But it's a thing that I have. I love shoes. I love how different shoes look. Behind me is a bunch of Jordan 1s, which is obviously like, ooh, Jordan 1, Blake's like shoes, but I really do have a passion for crazy, stupid sneakers. So I have a lot.
Well, you just like collect it in general, right? Like, I mean, every time I feel like
you've described it perfectly. The season arcs of Blake right now, it's magic season, baby. Like that's what I'm doing a lot of is magic.
That's been going on for a while. It's funny because I was thinking about we just finished the sequential of 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, and I was thinking, what should we do next? And I was looking at maybe nobody hold me to this. I don't want to be held to anything that I say when I'm brainstorming. But I was looking at there's like an old Warhammer game that's called Space Marine that's like incredibly violent and bloody, and I was like, but what if we start playing that and then Blake gets into Warhammer and then it destroys his life like Warhammer will do? Where
there's some dramatic movie moment where I'm going to tell you, Jeff, it's okay, we can do it. Like it's like it's okay if you bring me to a new season. I'm ready. It's okay. I can get through it. Yeah, dude, I think that'd be awesome actually, because I've always Warhammer exists in the Magic universe now, so it's all good. It all ties together.
Well, there you go. Hey everybody, I got bad news for you this week. We got a really weird, like weirder than normal. It's funny because I feel for RageSelect's been around for 11 years, and for like the last 4 years and maybe change, I feel like news has been going hard. Every week there's like news, like capital, like do.
Well, last week you and Michael were talking about the Xbox Gaming Pass like going up, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that was a big deal, right? So there was always like this hot and heavy stuff, but this week.
It's more of a light potpourri, you know. It's not a hefty stew that you really get a lot out of. Like there aren't any big chunks of meat in here, but that's okay because we're gonna make it work because that is what we do. But before we get to any of that, I just finished watching a really strange movie that I want to talk about. So every week I've been looking for something to watch, and this week I've been playing a lot of Subnautica, and so I was like, oh shit, it's like 2 hours until the podcast. I better pick something. So I just went online, I looked for something with good reviews. I am watching this French movie called oh god, it's got a really weird name. It's called The Crime Is Mine. And it's this French movie that came out last year, and it's like a farce. It's like a stage play, and it's all set in the 1930s, and it's about these 2 women who share a horrible apartment, and one of them is an aspiring actress, and the other one is a lawyer who can't get any work. And then from there, it kind of becomes like it's kind of like French Chicago. Like, oh, the actress comes home and she's like, you know, I went out for this part. This guy tried to take advantage of me, and then a detective shows up and he's like, "He's dead, mademoiselle, and you're the prime suspect." And so shenanigans ensue. There's a lot of stuff. There's a weird subplot about like that lawyer is into her roommate, but that never really comes to anything. But it's a really strange movie, and I'd heard like it got good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's one of those things where it's like, I'd never heard of this until I just started looking around.
I've never heard of this. This looks awesome. This looks very different and not as Yeah, I love foreign films too because they always bring the element of like, well, this isn't a typical like American film. We're going to do something completely different, right?
Right, right. And it's very like it's very melodramatic. It's very like over the top. It's not exactly like subtle in any way, shape, or form. But you know, it was really well shot, and
The cinematography is beautiful.
yeah, it's and it you know, I like a good period piece. I like all the costumes from the 1930s and stuff. So, and it, you know, it's not gonna blow your mind away with like all the crazy twists and turns that happen. But I don't know, I enjoyed it. Like it, you know, it didn't knock my socks. I'd say it was like a good. I watched this one time. I had a good time. I enjoyed myself. Probably not going to go back and watch it over and over again. But like back in the, you know what? I feel like so many movies that I see these days, Blake, and this isn't a thing anymore, but like back in the old days, you'd watch a movie and you'd be like, you know, I'd never go to Blockbuster to rent that again. But if I turned on USA and it was on Saturday afternoon, it was like 10 minutes in, I'd probably watch the rest of it or just leave it on in the background while I did the dishes. And then that's kind of what so many movies I watch, I'm just like, I don't have a grand opinion for the internet about this. It was just charming and fine, and I liked it well enough.
Well, it's like it's when you're going in cold to things and it really resonates because it's just, I don't know, like something about watching the trailer right now just kind of the colors are very like inviting, the cinematography is great, like I don't know, it just seems very wholesome.
Yeah.
And it definitely seems inviting for sure. Hilariously, on the other side, have you ever seen the movie Under Paris?
I don't think so.
You should watch Under Paris.
Is that about the skeleton catacombs?
No.
No. Oh, it's not. Okay. Wait, is it about sharks?
Yes, it's a shark movie. Yeah. Like, just say no more. The next time that you have a podcast and I'm listening to it, I want to hear you talk about Under Paris. That's your next. I've watched this movie. Holy shit.
It came out like last month on Netflix. I mean, that's the problem. It's got the Netflix kiss of death because like 80% of Netflix movies are just trash on trash. Like,
well, let's be fair here. This is a movie with a poster of a giant shark in the Paris canals.
Yeah.
So in terms of being lost in the shuffle, I can understand why some people would, but not me. That pops out like a eyesore right there. Like you should be able to see that a mile away.
I'm surprised that it has such an artful name because I feel like I would have watched it if I turned on Netflix and it had just been like shark face, like
boom,
murder teeth.
But it is in French, right? So that's what the takeaway is, that they are not heavily promoting French shark movies, but they should.
They should,
because they upscaled the freaking the platform price, right? Like, you just start giving me more French shark movies, damn it.
Yeah, tell me about that weird shit. I don't need to know about 13 Reasons Why season 25 or Stranger Things.
Nobody cares about that anymore. We want more sharks.
I was so excited. There's a okay. Maybe I have to watch that, and then I also have to go back and watch. There's a J-Lo pilots a mech movie on Netflix called Atlas. And I was really excited for it, except when it came out, it had like a 30 on Metacritic. And I'm like, damn, dude, it's one of those crappy Netflix movies, but I don't know. It's J-Lo piloting a mech. Like,
how could that be bad?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, anyway, no, it could be very bad.
It could be very bad. What about you? Did you watch anything, play anything good? You do anything before we jump into it?
Not particularly. I've been I don't know. I watched Day of the Beast, the movie that you had talked about with Michael. Yeah, that was flipping insane. So that was fun, and been always playing some Magic Arena. But yeah, not doing too much more than the Magic stuff and hanging out with the kiddo. So I'm excited to dive in. Yeah.
What was your? I mean, just before we jump in, I'd like to hear just your overall thoughts on Day of the Beast, because I was so confused when I finished watching it. I was like, what was that movie even about, man?
Well, I had the same opinion, but I'm all for movies that make. It's just different. It's just completely different than anything else. Especially one of the screenshots that you showed, no spoilers. It's just like this, that one. Like, it's just like, what the fuck is that? You know, like there is a lot of different questions that movie makes you ask, and it's like, Jesus, that's a lot. The
one that I was talking with Michael about for like an hour in the car on the ride home was just like, you get to the end of that movie, and there's a very good case to be made. I'm not going to talk about individual specifics. There's a very good case to be made that nothing actually happened in that movie. That like the prime thing that happened in that movie didn't actually happen, and it was just like 3 crazy dudes running around doing crimes for no reason at all. The end.
It's like the Dazed and Confused thing. Like, it's legitimately a nothing story. Nothing happens. Like, it's just insanity. Insanity ensues.
Yep. Well, with that, speaking of insanity, it's crazy that No Man's Sky is still getting updates, and we got a big. Okay, so there's a big update that happened. It's actually called Worlds Part 1, and it should tell you what kind of news week it is that we're leading off with No Man's Sky updates, because I just mentioned that like towards the end of the thing, but. This was really interesting. They've added They've added in, well, what I thought was really interesting was there were 2 videos. There was like a trailer for the update that kind of just showed like this typical thing that they do where they show like, look at the water, look at these floating islands, look at these new dudes and stuff. But I watched, there's a part where Sean Murray is talking about it. And I think that what's interesting is that their next game called like something about fire that they announced.
Fire.
Okay, that's not what I was trying to do. Website.
Would you like On Guard for dogs?
No. Light No Fire, is the name of the next one, and so that one's supposed to be like kind of a similar simulation, but all on one world. So instead of having this giant universe, it's supposed to be one Earth-sized planet that's actually as big as Earth, because most of the stuff is like,
That seems fair for them. They're probably like, we want to make it easier on ourselves in terms of all of the criticism. This game is what, 10 years old?
Yeah.
Right? Like this is, this game
2016.
For me, that's insane to me. Like the fact that we're almost 10 years away. This game, when it first came out, got so much flack and so much hate. But in reality, this is a game that you invested in, and they invested more into it. And I'm happy to see that people are enjoying it. I've never played it, to be honest with you. But all of this new stuff that they're talking about, all of the new things coming, right? Mm-hmm. It just looks like particle effects that they've just added. And like, oh, now the water reacts to wind. Like, I wasn't overly impressed, but hey, maybe I need to play it to understand. But I think landing on water's cool. Like, that's a cool element.
Well, part of it, I think, okay, so first off, one of the interesting things I found was that they said that as they were developing their new game, they found like they kind of developed these new like techniques to be able to do like better clouds, better water, better wind and lighting and weather and stuff like that. And then they realized that, they could just backport that back into No Man's Sky. So part of where this is coming from is new tech that they've got that for the new game that they like, because I'm sure that they're using either a similar or the same engine as the previous game. So they were just like, oh, we found these techniques. Because I went and read all the patch notes, and there's a lot of stuff in here about like, the thing is that when you watch the trailers, it's very like the flashy parts of it, which you could kind of make a case for, considering that a lot of No Man's Sky is just about the spectacle of going to all these different planets and looking at kind of all the different stuff that's going on there. And the problem when it first launched was that there wasn't as much diversity in the environment, so everything kind of ended up being like, oh, well, this is a lot like that last planet. It's just the water is red instead of green on this planet. But with all the stuff that they've added in, with like these new creatures and like new weather patterns and stuff, they really do. It really is starting to look like a lot of different planets, which is good. But then they've also added a whole slew of other stuff. Like there's like rendering pipeline optimizations and like things that'll make it load faster, things that'll make it run better. There's like this new, they kind of briefly mentioned it in the trailer. There's this new like kind of like a mini campaign mode where you can go into like it's called like a story or something like that. Listen, nobody's ever heard the word story before. It's like
something
series
called a story.
It's like a plot. Am I saying that right?
Is it plote?
It's like a series of missions that you can do either by yourself or cooperatively with friends, and that's where they showed like these giant bugs, right? So it's kind of like the it's similar to the Helldivers campaign in that you like are kind of going between like 4 or 5 planets in a row trying to fight this scourge of like these giant kind of Starship Troopers-esque almost bugs. They've got a big new mech that has like flamethrower arms that you can use to fight it with. And see, that's the thing about No Man's Sky that I've always been down on, is that like looking at a new environment is fine, but I need something to murder while I'm in that pretty new environment.
So should I look at this? So as somebody on the outside, I think from No Man's Sky perspective, should I look at this more of that the developer was like, hey, we can do something for a game that's still live and current that we're not really doing any updates for? Or was it strictly like was it a DLC or is this a free update?
They've all been free updates. The game the game has never had DLC, and since it launched, it's done a whole series of updates. This is like the 20 or 30th update that they've done that's like a significant thing. That's not just like, it did add some new armor and a new crafting system, and it streamlined a few things. But the thing with No Man's Sky is that it's like, then they added player housing. Then they added vehicles. Then they added trade ships that you could capture and send between places. Then they revamped the space combat. Then they added multiplayer. Then they keep adding this stuff. And so
I love to see that, by the way. I think that's really great from a game development perspective, especially with a world like No Man's Sky. But yeah.
One of the things they talked about that I think is kind of cool is this. There's like walking buildings on planets. Like some planets have these buildings that just have legs that walk around that you can run up to.
Now you got me thinking about Elden Ring again with the walking castle in the middle of the fucking field. Yep.
So, but the question that I have, see, here's the problem that I keep coming back to is that they keep doing these updates and I keep not going back to No Man's Sky. And like even this one is called Worlds Part 1, and Sean Murray's being a little, who knows? Probably going to be another one with a name like Worlds Part 1. So like the issue that I keep running into is with a game like No Man's Sky, it's kind of the problem I had with Cyberpunk. I've had it with a few other games that have had massive revamps where it's like, I'm only going to play this game one time. Like, I know that a lot of people will find like a game like this and they'll be like, it's my forever game. I just play it over and over again. It's what I want to play with my friends. But when I play No Man's Sky, I only want to play it one time. So the more they update No Man's Sky, the further back my revisit of it gets. Because I played it when it first came out and I was like, it's a little boring. This looks great. Yeah, mech suits and bug fights and fucking...
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. But like, I don't want to do it until it's been declared done, because it's not like an MMO. Like with an MMO, it's right, they add a whole new thing that's tailor-made, or like with Elden Ring, they add DLC, and that's made for you to go in at a certain level, and it's a finite thing. This is like kind of an infinite game, and so to me, it's like I don't know, it's almost like a double-edged sword. Like, this all looks great, but how great is it going to look if I wait even further?
That's true. It's like when you go back, though, I'm sure it's going to kind of blow your mind. And that's what I was saying earlier. Is like it's a completely different game than it was in the 10 years ago that it came out. So
yeah,
I'm much appreciative of this developer because they did overcommit at the very beginning into a point that was just insanity, right? But then they actually made good on most of those development plans. So yeah. I just thought it was funny where it was like I was reading this before the show just trying to get like more interested, and I was like, this looks like particle effects from what I'm saying. It's like the new worlds have water that react to like wind and stuff, which by all intents and purposes, every time you visit a new planet, that is very key to feel different, right? Yeah. Because when that first came out, it was like every planet seemed pretty similar in terms of a template, and then like it just didn't really feel the vibe. Now they're doing much more to add more to that. So I'm also curious to see this new game that they're working on too.
Yeah, I think there's I am interested in trying it out, but again, it's hard to. I don't know. Have you ever had a game that has done extensive? Have you ever been playing a game that was doing like really extensive updates where it's like, oh shit, here's a new update that changes stuff so dramatically that it's almost like I might as well start over, or I don't know, because it's weird. Like, I would like to experience this world from the beginning with all of the expansions, not like go back to a save game where I don't remember what was going on, and it was like
I guess like Fallout 4 probably would be like that in terms of like the new updates for that, even though that's not even as scaled as anything like that. But the last time really was like Halo 2 when I was playing that in high school. It was just like hey, did they get the latest patch that's now going to fix like the BNR shit that was going on? That was to me the last time that I was actually invested into something like that, where I was constantly going back and checking the updates afterwards. But yeah, I'm not much more of the gamer that I used to be. So maybe people like Counter-Strike, I don't know if that updates to the point of like actually making differences or I don't know
though. I wonder. I do wonder though. I think I get the impression from you that it's the same way, but maybe people can chime in the comments. Like, I hate to be that guy, but I feel like a lot of times because of RageSelect, I don't have a good handle on how most people engage with video games, because I'm like, play it, beat it, throw it in the trash, and move on to the next thing. Like, every so often I'll drag an old game that I know I like out to be like, hey, let's give this another shot. Like, actually, when the Fallout TV show came out, I loaded up Fallout 3 for the first time in a long time. But then I remembered.
I did 4. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go 4.
Well, but see, then I remembered that it was like, they've got a remake of Fallout 3 on the docket. Like, why would I play the Xbox 360 version of Fallout 3 when I could wait for a remaster to come out?
Well, you're a man of many tastes, right? You're playing games as soon as they launch and they drop, right? So it's almost like you have so many games to play with so little time.
Yeah,
I would understand, because you're like, I'm going to have to play the remake, right? Like, that's something that the trajectory has to happen. So yeah, I totally get that. I think for people that just have that itch, that really want to, for me, the Fallout 4, the Fallout aspect, that's what I wanted. The Fallout 4 itch was like, that's the latest and greatest. I like the Fallout show so much, I'm going to go play that again. Like, that was really cool to go back to, but I had to restart because everything, I feel like, changed, and all the stuff I had to, like, reset. But maybe I was just distance for playing the first time.
Fair enough. Okay, so from there, let's move on to some other news. Apex Legends. We talked last week about how Apex Legends has revamped. I use with quotey fingers. Those are bad quotey fingers, by the way. These are bad ones. They've revamped their battle pass system. So instead of having one battle pass for, what was it, like 3 months or something, they're doing 2 battle passes every 6 weeks. And each one of them costs about as much as the previous battle pass, and you can no longer use the in-game credits that you earn for playing the game to purchase any of the battle passes. This has not been good. Like, I don't know if we've been able to see in a week. Okay, something that always happens is a company makes a boneheaded decision like this, and everybody's like, that's it. I'm uninstalling Apex Legends. Fuck you guys. I'm going home. I'm going to go
it's
to...
kind of like the Helldivers thing, even though that wasn't intentional by the developers, right? But people were up in arms about it.
But then you can never tell whether that's going to stick, or whether it's going to be just like a flash in the pan. Whether they say, hey, I'm leaving, I'm never coming back, but then as soon as nobody's watching, they're just like, it's Saturday afternoon and I'm bored, I might as well load up Apex Legends. But I will say that the Steam reviews have gone to overwhelmingly negative on Apex Legends.
Let the people speak. Let the people speak their minds. But yeah, you know what? Giga economy bullshit. In the article it mentions, like, this is a company that has been notorious and rated poorly in terms of the actual like their customer outreach. Like, they're always one of the worst, I think, in terms of that. So the fact that they're going to split the battle pass to try to get more money, and then basically be like, well, we split it because you get more in each one, and blah 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 blah. It's like, or you could just keep it the way it was, and then nobody would have a problem. But here we are, because you have to just make line go up in this world, right? So Giga economy, got to figure out new ways of revenue streams, even if that means pissing off your player base, which is the only reason why you're actually getting any revenue to begin with.
I have a theory too about some of this stuff that, like, I have this thing that comes to mind a lot of times where I'm like, I don't think that large corporations understand what the current, and I don't want to get too far out on this limb because I don't like to do politics on RageSelect, but like what inflation means for your average person who's like doesn't have a lot of money and is living kind of paycheck to paycheck. And it's like, well, I guess I'm not playing Apex Legends anymore, because like, as long as it was something I could kind of do for funzos, fine. But like, when groceries go up, when food prices go up, like, you got to start cutting luxuries. And like, if you're only halfway interested in Apex Legends, like, I could definitely see it. And then EA's like, hey, we're not making enough money on this free-to-play game, jack up the prices. And then it's just surprise Pikachu face, right? When like, it's like, wait, what happened to all the players? It's like, well, nobody can afford to spend, like, nobody wants to spend $10 every 6 weeks for your stupid ass battle pass. Like,
right. And even, I'm going to tell you this too, and we're going to go back to the Magic Arena real quick. They do the same shit, right? Oh, there's a season pass, and then there's also this ticket based system where you're going to get tickets, but the only way you can spend the tickets is if you give us $5 to fucking enter the fucking ticket thing. It is all about nickel and diming, and at some point you lose the aspect of a video game, because it's not about the video game, it's about how much money can we actually get from you each month that you're playing our game. And it just seems like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to play Apex Legends anymore. I never did to begin with, but I'm not going to do it anymore. Not until those ratings change.
Take that, EA. No, and then I guess the last thing I wanted to talk about this really briefly is I'm starting to wonder whether like in the last year or so we started to see a big slowdown in like the live service game economy, right? Like they tried to make the live service stuff work, and it never really, I think, worked outside. It was one of those things where it was like, well, Fortnite does it. And it's like, right, well, the guy at the top of the mountain can
They're
do
the
it.
exception. They're the exception. Yeah.
But this isn't just a genre where everybody can do it, because people don't have unlimited time and money to spend on every single like live service game. I'm starting to wonder whether we're also coming to the end of this dumb free-to-play model where it's like, yeah, you could download the game for free and then we'll make up our money on the battle pass of cosmetics. And people are like, or I could just play your free game for free and not engage with your dumbass monetization system that, like, previously you were making all these excuses, but it just doesn't matter anymore what your excuses are, because like I'm not going to give you money. I'm going to play the game with my buddies, and then we're going to go log off and fucking go eat chicken McNuggets. Like,
Yeah.
So I wonder if stuff like this is the beginning of the end of the free-to-play economy, as companies keep trying to raise rates to deal with dwindling profits, and then that just ends up accelerating people out of the product until it just dies.
Well, I mean, and this is do you believe there's oversaturation of the market, specifically with these? We're going to talk real quick about Concord coming up, but like, geez, there's so many different variety, but the same actual fucking game with like Apex Legends and Overwatch and all of that bullshit is the exact same, depending on what your flavor of character models are, right? Like whatever you want to aspire to be, right? You just go play that version.
I mean, just to head off any comments, they're slightly different in that, like, Apex is a battle royale.
Flaming the comments right now. They're like, oh my god! But
Overwatch is a hero battler. But the point
is that Apex Legends players are going to play Overwatch, right? Or they're going to move or migrate to something very similar.
Yeah, I don't want to belabor the point too much because I've done it a lot over the years, but like the problem that I've had with this entire model, it's the problem I have with the streaming services, it's the problem I have with a lot of this stuff, is that it's like, guys, there are so many options. Nobody has enough time to play every one of these, and most of the economies of these games are based on having like Fortnite numbers. And it's like when other MMOs would try to go up against World of Warcraft. They're like, yeah, we're going to go for those World of Warcraft numbers. It's like, no, you're not. Like, there's only one World of Warcraft, and it's going to have the numbers. There's only one Fortnite, and it's going to have the ability to keep an entire multi-billion-dollar company running because kids like it. The kids aren't playing Apex Legends; they're playing Fortnite. So,
the question I have is, like, when you look at the longevity of these games, right? Like the success. Look at Helldiver's success. It was exploded the first few weeks that it came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the player base now is still reset to very similar numbers than what's expected, right? Not like hundreds of thousands of players every second or whatever that was going on. But
yeah,
I think the whole idea is like, if you start huge, and you get that momentum, it will carry you on. But what's the lifespan typically of these types of games? Like 1 year, 2 years? Because Apex Legends has been out for like 3 years now, right?
So the other thing that I talk about a lot that I don't know if people really understand is that once you have something like an Apex Legends or Helldivers, or like Ubisoft is running season like 14 of For Honor online, like, does not take very much to keep a game going.
Right, it's the
launched.
development process of it's just kind of like a movie, right? Like, you distribute it and you can keep distributing it and all that stuff, right? But
you need like 3 artists and 4 developers and like maybe 4 QA people, and then you keep half the developers working on bug fixes, you keep the other half doing cosmetics for the next season with the art team, and then you keep QA trying to keep the bugs in order. You can keep a game running for a long time. I mean, that's like what, less than 10 employees, like, and yeah, programmers and artists, they cost money, but by the same token, you're talking about, compared to these 500 person development teams making the next Assassin's Creed game, you're talking about 8 people that are just keeping the cash. Like, you don't have to have a shitload of players to keep that many people employed for a long time. So,
because that was just like the only time that they would ever be like, okay, well, now the net value is not worth keeping the servers online, right? Like that would just be so minuscule, I guess, of a player base. But the whole point I was raising, the reason why, is that, like, I don't know the longevity of a lot of these games when it comes to like if you lose a massive amounts of player base, what that actually is going to look like in the future. You know what I mean? Because like if Apex Legends loses a bunch of people to Valorant or whatever, I still think it's pretty huge in esports gaming based on what I've seen. But it may kill the game off.
It could. It could. I did look at it on the Steam charts the other day, and like I don't see anything like over the last like month or so.
It's pretty normal and healthy.
It's pretty normal. Like it's actually been kind of a mesa for the entire time it's been out. Like it's kind of gone up and it's gone down, but there hasn't been a huge drop yet. But the big thing about these sorts of things is that once they do start to die, they can die pretty quick. And then when it comes to like, it only takes 10 people to keep this game going. But then when management is looking to cut people to make your expenses go down so that your profits look better, those 10 people are easy to just say like, well, this thing isn't really,
this
who
is
gives a
done
shit?
now. Yeah. I think that's fair. I honestly do hope that like, that's why the voice is important in terms of the users out there and the people that, if they feel like they're being abused or something, or basically like, hey, like you're fucking taking money to the point of like this is ridiculous, you can choose to go elsewhere, right? You can actually go and take your money elsewhere, which is really nice from that perspective. It does count. Your voice counts.
Absolutely does. Let's see. In other online multiplayer news, we got the confirmation that the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 multiplayer beta is going to be coming out in August. The big question here, so this is going to be what? There's one August 30th to September 4th, and then September 6th to September 9th. The big thing here is that since Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard, it means that for 4 or 5 years now, it used to be a PlayStation exclusive. The first beta was only on PlayStation, and then the second beta was for everybody who pre-ordered. But this time, both betas are open to all, and if you have Game Pass, you don't even have to pre-order the game. It's like you just go into the beta.
Console exclusivity is not a thing anymore. I mean, it used to be on the box. It used to say only for GameCube or only for Xbox, right? Now it's like, nah, that shit is just open wide up, right? Especially now that this is owned by Microsoft, right? So
sort of. There's still a lot of niche stuff that gets like Sony's better at making console deals than Microsoft is, but this was like, I don't know. The thing is that it'll be interesting to see because there's been a little bit of a dip in the Call of Duty overall sales year after year. Like Call of Duty is losing a little bit of its luster. People didn't like a lot of the previous ones. Like,
Ghost was terrible. Like, there's just all of these Call of Duty games that come out that saturate itself.
Yeah,
that you just kind of lose interest. Yeah,
yeah. So, but it'll be. I mean, like Black Ops is really popular, like that's one of the more popular ones. And so I think that it'll be interesting to see like what this does, because Call of Duty continually sells very well, but then the big question this year is like, if they put Call of Duty on Game Pass, what kind of hit to your revenue is Microsoft going to be taking, right? Like if Game Pass PC and Game Pass console both have Call of Duty on it, and that's like every one of those is a sub cost, not a $60 day one purchase, like are they going to be like cannibalizing that product to the point where it's going to be significant enough to make them rethink Game Pass? In fact, we talked about, you mentioned the Game Pass going up in price, almost certainly because of this. Almost
of course.
Certainly.
And they're getting that net new revenue, right? Because that's exactly what they did. They went, all right, we're going to go in at this amount of money, and then Black Ops 6 is going to start coming out, right?
Yep.
But we're going to announce it's going to be on Game Pass. And then, oh, what do you know? Now Game Pass is more expensive. It is exactly the strategy of getting the people sucked in, because still $20 a month, right, seems very like, for me that wants to play Black Ops 6, that's a very good appetite. Like, yes, I would spend $20 a month to just make sure I have Black Ops 6 versus that $70 price point or whatever it's going to be now to actually buy the game itself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes way more sense.
I mean, that's always been the calculus with Game Pass, right? Is if you get in a year, as long as you get 4 games out of Game Pass that you would have spent full price on, it's like you've subsidized. Even with the expanded price, you've subsidized it. But again, I go back to the, if you're not using Game Pass, on the other hand, if you're not turning on your Xbox or you're not using Game Pass, then, the price going up might just be a good reason for you to go,
Yeah. But I still
So.
think they're going to look at that net new revenue and probably go, oh, well, we'll offset any people leaving by the extra $5 that we're going to get. And you said it on the last episode too, which was like they could have gone at 25. Like it doesn't seem like they're going to stop. I still think in the next year they're going to up it even more, probably to 23 or something, and try to add some other extra flavor to it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I will probably play Call of Duty Black Ops 6 if it is a part of Game Pass because I do have it. And
are you Call of Duty fan? Are you a big Call of Duty fan?
You know, I played a hell of a lot of zombies because we had a drinking game with it that every time that you went through a different level, like the next level of zombies, you would drink, or if you were down, you kept drinking until somebody saved you. And that's exactly what we did in college. So yes, I'm a huge Black Ops fan, but not for the right reasons. Not the multiplayer shit, just for the zombie shit. Yeah.
I'll be really interested to see what the numbers look like on these when we finally get them. So
yeah, it'll be interesting. Yep.
In other Xbox news, the Xbox. Okay, this one took me a little while to actually like suss out. The Xbox 360 store is shutting down on July 29th, and this is an FYI to anybody that like there's a bunch of games on there that are like deeply discounted.
Where'd that 50-cent game at? Jeff, what price is that?
It's not on there. It's not on there. But the big thing to note here is that like at first I was like, oh, does this mean that those backwards? Because it used to be that you could go onto the Xbox store and buy backwards compatible 360 games on the Series X and the Series S and the Xbox One. You can still do that. This is just like if you have a 360 plugged into the internet, that store is going offline. And
I think that's fair. I think it's fair. I think it's time because holy shit, the 360, man, that's been around for like what, since 2007, 6?
Sort of, but like I don't know, man. Aren't these running on Microsoft Azure servers? Like, are they running on your infrastructure? It's not like Microsoft is paying AWS for infrastructure here. Like, can't you keep like 8 ports open on one server so that like you could still access it? Like,
I mean, I think the power alone, I mean, I don't know generally, right? Because if you look at Twitch or something that's comparable to Amazon owning it, it still runs at a net loss because it just like streaming is just insanely expensive, right? From an overhead perspective of servers. So it's like yes, I do think it's insane that like it's not that much of an overhead, but if it's probably going to set a precedence that they don't want, you know, or it's like we got to keep everything open from the beginning of 2006 onwards, right?
I really, after thinking about it for a long time, I've come to the conclusion that it's like, don't turn off the especially not marketplaces. Like I understand turning off the Call of Duty Black Ops 1 dedicated servers, right? Like it's been a long time.
Okay.
But okay,
even though that makes me sad, but sure, whatever, fine.
This is the marketplace. Like I'm trying to give you money, and you're like, no, you can't give me money anymore. I'm like,
the mall is closing. Everything goes.
Don't you guys have some old laptops that you could just like run this shit like in a broom
with
closet?
The red trackball in the middle, right?
right. Put it on a 486. Like just leave it running. You know, let like 2 people a day can make a purchase, and then like if you get a huge influx, you could scale up and you could open it back up again. But like, you know,
just run it at 480p, and then if you need to scale back to 720p, you could. You know,
exactly. Like cut the bandwidth, like make it one like cable modem that's shared between everybody that's trying to buy things off the Xbox 360 marketplace. But just leave it.
Every time you download, it's got to make the fucking AOL sound.
Right. Well, no, but the thing is that I know that they're still going to have servers, because if you bought something on the 360, you still have to be able to download it. You're still able to go download your old 360 games. So like they still have to be hosted. It's just the actual storefront is getting cut off. And I'm like, if there are people in this world that are still using their Xbox 360s, I say let them keep using it.
They're like, Red Ring hasn't gotten me yet.
That's right. If you've got a PS3 that's hooked, if you've got a Nintendo Wii that is still hooked up to a LAN cable and you want to go buy some WiiWare games, let them do it. Let them do it is all I say. But
let our WiiWares live.
The discounts are there. You would have to. For some reason the Xbox, my browser and the Xbox store.
So they also took down the Xbox website too. They were like, you know what, everything must go. 360 website, screw it all.
I got some kind of like cookie that's messed up. I can't get to the Xbox website at this point. But I will say, don't be like Jeff and assume that all of the stuff on the 360 marketplace is backwards compatible, because it's not. Again, you are buying Xbox 360 games. You can buy them through a web browser, but the ones that are backwards compatible, yes, you can play them, but the ones that are not, those are Xbox 360 games. You will have to play them on your Xbox 360. Like, I bought Bionic Commando Rearmed because it was $1 and that game fucking rules. And then I booted up my Series X and I was like, all right, let me play some Bionic Commando. And it was like, well, that's not backwards compatible. Only Bionic Commando 2, where he can jump and has a big mustache, is backwards compatible. And fuck that game. So
you're like, I don't like mustaches on my Bionic Commandos.
I don't want him to jump. He doesn't jump. It ruins the whole point of having the bionic arm.
Very odd specific criticism. I don't want jumping in my game.
I don't want jumping in my Bionic Commando game. So anyway, yeah, if you are interested, there's some pretty good deals on there. Also, here's another tip for you, Blake. You can pay with PayPal on the 360 store. So if you have, say, your revenue from your YouTube channel going into a PayPal account and you want to buy a bunch of $1 games, you don't have to do that on your business credit card. You could just do it out of your stupid PayPal account. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
Use your PayPal account, and then once you're done about it, why don't you go post it on Zynga, right? Like, and then talk about it on your MySpace.
Yes,
isn't that crazy
exactly.
to think that PayPal is like behind now? It's like Venmo and Cash App and all this other bullshit.
Well, for me, it's funny because my the payouts for the ad revenue on RageSelect go to my PayPal account, and I don't ever really look at it, so it just sits there. And then every so often, I will have a self-destructive hankering, and I remember that Domino's Pizza accepts PayPal as a payment method. So every time I come on this show and talk about how sick I was the day before because I ate a Domino's Pizza, it's because I paid for it directly with my YouTube ad revenue.
Oh, so now you're blaming us, people that watch your YouTube channel, because of all the
don't unsubscribe to try to make me healthier. I will find a way.
Domino's will always persist. Don't worry.
Yes, it will find a way. Also, this is pretty cool, actually. As far as the Xbox 360 shutdown goes, the Xbox they have a new Blades like dynamic background for the modern consoles that like simulates.
I can hear it. It literally in blue text just on the screen right now said satisfying swoosh noise when you go between the. I can hear that noise in my head right now.
Yeah,
with the blades going back and forth and the what is it? Plex. Oh, not Plex. There was a game that was like a turn-based like Tetris type game that always was on there. That's what I always remember from that. I don't remember what the name of that game was.
Turn-based Tetris game.
It was like a colored Jewel game, almost like
Bejeweled.
It was almost like Bejeweled, but not exactly. But it was on the Xbox 360.
Peggle.
It wasn't Peggle. It was something a little different.
Oh God, I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember.
I'll figure it out.
So yeah, the blades don't actually move, but they're still there. Some people will still to this day tell you Blades was the best interface they ever made. They never should have gotten away from the blades in the first place. I definitely am one of those people because when they changed
it was called Hexic. Sorry.
Hexic
HD.
Oh wow.
Yeah, sorry. That's the game that I remember playing on the that had some weird nostalgia. Sorry for that weird randomness.
No. You know what? I still think that they should bring back the dumb instead of the blades, I think they should bring back the dumb Xbox avatars, right? Where it's like,
yeah,
you're a little guy and you played Red Dead, now you got a little lasso, your little guy comes out.
I miss 1 versus 100. We used to have a group of people get on a voice channel chat or whatever on Xbox 360, and we would play 1 versus 100, and there was a horror week, and you know the people in Austin legitimately everybody like did really well up until the trick question where it was who dies first in the movie Scream, and everybody said Drew Barrymore, but it's not. It's the boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like there was just like these gotcha questions.
Boo.
Yeah, exactly. But it was so much fun. So that definitely the Xbox 360 nostalgia is real.
Yeah. And then last, because we're going to take a break here, we had the launch of a new Xbox bundle, quote fingers, quotey fingers again, quote fingers, Xbox bundle.
You say?
This is from Amazon now called the Xbox No Console Required Bundle, which, as mentioned last week, this is a Fire Stick, an Xbox Series X controller, remote control, and then like 1 month of Game Pass, and it's like $80, and it's for the streaming version.
Is this gonna work?
No.
Like, yeah, man, I'm telling you, this looks like ass. Like, I don't think this would ever work in a real, like, I'm just thinking about all the kids out there, right? Where it's like, hey, like we were saying, like the inflation, all that stuff, money's not that easy to come by. You're gonna see people spend $80 on this device, thinking that it's gonna be a console replacement, but it is not. It is not even a console alternative to me. It just seems like a really shitty way to try to play a game and go, see, it's the same. You know, like we have Xbox at home.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, like I think the main thing is that the Xbox xCloud streaming is okay, but that's the thing. I think it's like if you've ever, I don't know, digging deep here, like if you've ever worked at like a retail store or in an environment where it's like you'll have the moms that come in that are looking for something, and it's like, oh, does this play Xbox games? And you have to be, well, Mrs. Johnson, yes, it does, but like a lot of it's going to depend on how fast your internet is. And if you have like blazingly fast internet, it'll probably work okay. Like if you're spending $150 a month on internet, like I am, with some kind of crazy fiber bullshit, and you've got a kick-ass router because it's also Wi-Fi, like, yes, it could work okay. Like it could be acceptable. The problem is that there are a lot of failure points.
Exactly. Especially for a local, like a family that's not going to be tech savvy, that's not going to understand, hey, you need to have a good Wi-Fi. Not just good Wi-Fi, also your house has to be laid out well for your actual display and how that's going to pull that signal in, right? Like wireless cloud gaming is exciting, right? Because this will be a thing, but it's not. I don't know if it's ready yet, specifically with Wi-Fi. And I would love to see where this develops, but yeah, this just seems like, hey, it's like, you want to play Xbox on Fire Stick? No, man, I want to play the actual Xbox. So like, I don't know. This looks like it's 5 years too early.
I think the issue that I have with this is that I wanted to check this, but I don't think that the Fire Stick that they're selling you, I don't think it has a LAN port on it, so it has to go.
You can't RJ45 that at all. Like you'd have to go.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, the thing is, it's hard to say. I mean, I wish I could get more information about like how many people are actually doing this, because the other side of this coin is that like I am a real queen about like frame rates and resolutions and if HDR is turned on and stuff like that. But then like, you know, you ever go to somebody's house and they've got the fucking Real Motion Plus turned on their TV, and you're just like, how long has it been like that? And they're like, I don't know, I bought this TV like 4 years ago. And you're like, give me the remote. Give me the remote. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to turn off the Real Cinema HD. I'm gonna like, you know, readjust your contrast levels, and like, why is it so blue? Let me the color's all jacked up.
I had a TV that legitimately just had it on. Like you could not turn it off.
No.
I gifted that thing. It was so, I was like, nope, you can't do that. Like legitimately that makes it loses its cinematic gate. It just feels like you're behind the screen. Like, it's going to be very, for real hardcore gamers, this is not going to be a solution.
Right. I guess what I'm saying is that I'm wondering if out there are just like non-hardcore gamers that are like, it's fine, you know.
Yeah.
All I really
wants
want
to play Xbox games. Let him play Xbox games. He doesn't care. He doesn't know the difference, right?
Like he's used to the weird buffering. Like the input lag doesn't bother him because he doesn't have anything to compare it to. And he's like 8, so I just give him a controller and I'm like, play whatever you want to, little Timmy.
I mean, we have Xbox at home is the perfect like analogy for what the Fire Stick is going to. We got Xbox at home. You don't need the console.
Yeah. And hey, with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. But when we come back, we've got a lot more news left to go, so stick around. And we're back. And don't you worry, because we got a lot more news left to talk about. And let's start by saying we almost got a new Crash Bandicoot game, apparently. This is kind of a meandering story, but apparently there's a company called Phoenix Labs. They made the game Dauntless, which I don't think anybody ever fucking played. It was some kind of like online fantasy kind of thing. I don't know. Some people probably played it.
Dauntless fans are like, fuck me. Why did you say fuck me for?
But they were making a game called Project Dragon, and people because
it was Spyro, right?
Yeah, because one of the main developers was actually used to be at Toys for Bob, and they were like, "Oh, Project Dragon, you guys were making a Spyro game that got canceled," and the guy went on social media and he was like, "No, that wasn't a Spyro game." But remind me someday to tell you about that Crash Bandicoot 5 game that we were working on that got canceled. And then just like, whoop, and everyone's like, whoa.
Whoa. Hang on a second. Tangible asset. What are we talking about?
Back it up. Yeah. So I don't know. I really like the Spyro games, and I really hate Crash Bandicoot, Blake.
Oh man, your hate for Sonic and Crash Bandicoot. I don't know what it is about characters like that, but you don't like them.
I don't
like these.
I'm not a fan.
These Bandicoots.
Yep. Well, the main thing for me is that when the Crash Bandicoot collection came out, and I don't have any nostalgia to go back to, and I was like, fuck me, this game is hard. And
yeah, it is very hard.
I don't like it.
But the first one had so much dynamic, especially with I think it was the third one. There was just so much more flavor. Every level was different. They had a vehicle level. It was fun. It was fun for the time.
Yeah.
But I understand it's very niche. Very niche.
I don't know. I begrudge no one. And the Crash Bandicoot 4 seemed really good. Like Toys for Bob made that one, and it seemed really, really good, even though it had some super challenge shit in it. But yeah, I don't know. There's a split that happened at one point where I feel like Crash Bandicoot and some of those stuff that they went down the Donkey Kong Country road. And I'm more of the Mario side. I'm the old school side. So
I'm a little bit of both. I dabbled in both.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know. Maybe someday we'll hear more about that. But pour one out for Crash Bandicoot. So let's see. Speaking of stuff that got canceled, this was so funny. There was going to be a driver TV show.
I remember hearing about this.
Yeah, it was announced a long time ago, and it was being made for Binge. Now, this is the real story to me is, did you guys know that there was a streaming service called Binge, and that it was supposed to be a gamer-focused streaming service?
Nope. What the fuck? Binge?
Yeah, and I apparently also Binge is being shut down, so both that production and Binge are no more. And I'm like, well, what was? I can't even get to the website. It's this is
it's not an Australian server.
Binge.com/au. This is the
Be impressed. Oh, I thought it said be impressed. It says be immersed.
Premium content. Watch, chat, earn. Binge is an immersive streaming platform created for the gaming universe. Earn useful bites rewards for binging exclusive shows, premium channels, and original live-action series where your favorite games come to life, all in one subscription. Was this the only thing? I can't see, impress me. Binge, what was the pitch? What did you have? What was on your channel?
I mean, okay, so if I'm thinking about what they just said, they're trying to make a Netflix, achievements, right? If you're watching certain content, you're going to get an achievement that says, Blake watched all of Driver the TV show in so and so many hours.
Sure.
Or whatever the fuck, right? But that doesn't, that's so, vanilla of an idea. There's no depth to that. It's just what, I don't understand. It's mainly just make a playlist on any other streaming service.
Let's see. Is a video streaming service available in Australia, owned by Hubble, previously StreamOcean, which is an over-the-top streaming. I'm reading Wikipedia here. Over-the-top streaming subscription provider owned by Foxtel. This is just
1.5 million users. No fucking way. No shot. That's crazy. As of March of 2023?
Yeah. It looks like they were up to 1.5 million subscribers. I mean, you know what? This could just be okay, let's see. Binge's content is supposed to deal with Foxtel, Australian rights to HBO Max original programs.
And WWE Network.
They had WWE. They had, so it looks like this is a specifically Australian streaming channel that was licensing stuff from other places.
It seems like it. Yeah,
okay.
It seems like they probably did an offshoot then with video games. So Okay, but also why are they making a Driver TV show? There's so many questions I have. Specifically, why Driver?
Yeah.
Like such a very, I don't know, mundane. It was great for its time. I love Driver 2, but I don't know. Like it just seems very random. It's almost like Fall Guy the TV show, right? Like random, very random.
When the last one was. Well, okay, let's not count these. Like the last actual
San Francisco
was San
2011.
Francisco. That's the one where he's in like a coma and you're like jumping between cars. 2011, man, damn. Yeah, I don't know. This is like when they talked about like, ooh, there's a new Need for Speed movie with Aaron Paul, and I'm like, who wants to watch that? Like,
cool. No thanks.
So yeah, between this and Need for Speed and the Gran Turismo movie that came out last year, I'm starting to think that movies based on racing video games, maybe not the best idea. Maybe not the best idea.
I kind of liked Gran Turismo. I don't know.
I didn't watch it. It could be good. I never watched it. Like,
oh man, Gran Turismo and the Shark Paris movie. Let's go. You got to watch them back to back.
Double feature.
Double feature.
Yeah. But Ubisoft did say that they were still, quote, actively working on other exciting projects related to the franchise, which, like, for you Driver fans is like, okay, well, maybe there's something happening, but the weasels in this sentence, the words that are weaselly, like actively working on other exciting projects related to the franchise. This could be stickers, man. This could be like, this could be a line of bed sheets with the Driver San Francisco logo on them. Like there's like, you got to
so
tell me
vague.
more than that. Yeah,
very vague. I don't know too if like there exists a space for Driver in the racing game world, because there's so many racing games. Forza, Need for Speed. I mean, shit, Burnout, are they still around? Like, damn, it's never ending.
Yeah. Let's see, another video game TV and movie news. We got the news that Walton Goggins is up for some Emmy nominations, or Walton Goggins is specifically up for best actor or whatever, best ghoul mask, and then the Fallout TV show is up for original drama series, and I guess it's outstanding lead actor in a drama series for Walton Goggins. This would actually be Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, no, finish your thought.
I was going to say, this is the third year in a row where video game shit is at the Emmys. Last year we got The Last of Us, and the year before that it was Arcane. So we're seeing a pretty
I was getting ready to say, is this the exception, or are we now starting to see more success with video game adaptations into film or TV show?
I personally think that because they've jacked up like the comic book movies so much that it's like we're really starting to get to a point where it's like, yeah, you can do numbers with these video game adaptations as long as you put the actual money into doing them so that they don't look like garbage. So they're not the Driver series on binge or they made was it like Dead Rising Crackle exclusive series.
Oh boy, I did not see that.
Like, did anybody watch that, or did it happen? Am I making this up? You don't know. Nobody's watched Crackle.
Nobody's been on Crackle, and they're certainly not binging it.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, as this article points out, Shogun is probably going to get all of this shit. So even though Last of Us did a pretty good job last year, it seems like Shogun is a lot of people's
cup of tea.
Yeah, it's a lot of people's
miso
prediction to be like, this is the one that's going to sweep everything this year. So
I do think that the Amazon had a home run with Fallout. They did such a good job making that very self-aware, and it went above and beyond. And we've talked about it many times, but I do enjoy that Fallout series.
It was great. And actually, as this also points out, it does kind of suck that Ella Purnell didn't get anything for Lucy, because she was just like perfectly cast and did a really good job with this kind of gee whiz. Like,
she was the pen of the show. She connected all of the dots, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, she definitely, I think maybe the next season she'll get another opportunity, right? It's exciting.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Let's see. This is a very strange story.
This is rad. Yeah.
This is a very strange story, but another Fallout news, other Fallout voice or acting news. So Fallout 4 is getting, there's this huge mod called Fallout London that's been in development for a long time. Apparently it's being like, people are really excited for it because it's one of those mods that has finally spiraled into like, man, this shit could just be a game. Like, this is just a mod team that just kept working and kept working and kept working. And, like, what they've done looks really incredible. And they've actually done an incredible job of getting, like, voice actors to come in. I think they said in this article that they're, like, two Doctor Who voice actors and, like, some other British people are in there. But there's a robotic parliament in this, and they got this...
former Speaker of the House,
yes,
to actually record the lines. That's insane.
Yes, this is John Burkow, who was Speaker of the House from 2009 to 2019, and is well known for just saying "order, order, order." Like, I watched a supercut. I think it was in this video, yeah, of him just yelling at people, or he'll just be chastising somebody in the middle of something, and then he'll just be like, so you're gonna have to sit down. Order, order. You're gonna have to sit down. like he just throws those orders in there.
Man, I do enjoy a good spat in the British Parliament. I tell you that. The fact that they become so animated in those scenarios, I found joy in the fact that it wasn't actually taking lines from just video clips or audio clips that they have. He actually recorded the lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where he was actually like, yeah, I'll do that. Like, that's crazy. Like, the fact that this mod has that type of pull to actually do that, which actually, do you think that Bethesda's going to take over this mod as because they were so behind the ball with the Amazon show not having any tangible thing ready right now? The next thing for Fallout 76 is the ghoul that you can play as, right? But that's not until next year.
Yeah.
What's stopping them from going, yeah, we're gonna make this an official release? Like if it's already done, like, give these people money and take it over and make it the next Fallout game.
I think that would be. I think it'd be relatively smart. I think it's actually a little too late for them to do that.
No, you think so? Okay,
it's right on the cusp of actually coming out. Like, it's not out, but it's like right about to come out. Like, it was actually supposed to come out like 2 months ago, but then the Fallout show coincided with the next gen update for Fallout 4, and that broke it.
It broke everything. That's right.
So
that's
it couldn't come out. But I don't know. Bethesda seems like they, let no one say that Bethesda doesn't know how to fuck up a good thing. Like,
yeah, I was like, I'm surprised that this game's gonna launch without any type of like DMCA or something that's gonna try to take it down, copyright it. I don't know.
Well, that's actually part of this next story, is the fact that apparently when it does launch, you'll be able to play it on the GOG version of Fallout 4 and the Steam version of Fallout 4, but not the Epic Games version of Fallout 4. And there's a very specific reason for that, is that only GOG and Steam have the ability for you to, GOG specifically has the ability for you to like pick like which version of this game do I want to install based on like history. And with Steam has enough backwards momentum that like, they said that they're making like a tool basically that will do the work for you of like reverting your Fallout 4 to the pre-next gen update state so that the game can be installed.
So this actually makes it work. Okay.
Yeah. But Epic Games Store has like no tools, no publicly facing tools, nothing whatsoever that will let you back up to a previous version of the game. Like, it's just whatever the current version, that's the version. So when it does come out, unfortunately, if you have the Epic Store version, you can't play it. Now, Fallout 4 is what? I'm wondering about the PC Game Pass version of it. Like, Fallout 4 on Steam is $20. So, like, this game, this mod isn't going to cost any money, so you could just say, well, it's the cost of the $20 version of Fallout 4. Which isn't like a shitload, and they have
I guess that's probably how they're not worried about a DMCA thing, because it's free and it's built within the game.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is, one, it's free, but then two, there's also an incentive about like Bethesda actually does officially license some mods and then sell them through their store, and then they take a chunk of that money, and if you started cracking down on people that were modding Fallout and
You're
Skyrim,
losing
for
a
God's
revenue
sake,
stream.
yeah, like that people would stop doing that, and you would just be cutting yourself off. They've set a precedent over the years of not like aggressively fucking with mods, of being like, no. They put out mod kits, for God's sake. They have like official mod support for specific games. So I think it would be incredibly destructive for a company that needs a lot of goodwill for them to try to go back on that at this point. But yeah, everything I could see from this, I mean, it makes it look like it's like a whole new Fallout game.
Are you gonna play? You gonna play this?
I'll probably check it out like when it comes out. Like it looks like, I'm always a little bit leery about mods because they do a great job with their screenshots, and then you install it and you're just like, oh, this flavor is way different than than the one that I wanted when I launched this game. But I don't know. These guys look like they're doing a good job. And by setting it in, well, first off, Fallout doesn't have like specific characters, so you don't have to worry about story. You just tell your own story. And then by setting it in London, as long as it looks good, like you could totally rewrite any rule that you want, because who knows how things went down after the apocalypse in London, right? We know a lot of how it worked in the United States from the different Fallout games, but like London, who knows? Do they even have Pip-Boys there? Do they have something else? Like, you could just kind of totally rewrite the rules. So, yeah.
I'm probably gonna check this game out. I get so excited and giddy over Fallout stuff right now. This is literally I've never even heard of this, so this was off my radar for some stupid reason.
Yeah. Well, this is why I do the podcast, is not everybody spends their weeks like just obsessively reading every story that comes onto like 4 different gaming websites. So
You're doing your part.
I am. I'm to let people know. Let's see, going back a little bit to the news stuff, it's funny because this article on Kotaku says Amazon's new Like a Dragon show is being made by people who really get the games. But then like half this article is talking about how the guy that's playing Kiryu Kazama is like, he's like, I'm doing my own thing. I'm not doing it exactly the same way that they do it in the games. I got my own take on this, which I'm actually really worried about this guy, because he's like, he's little. Like, I don't know if he's going to be bulking up, but he's like a real twinky, like kind of pretty boy pop dude, and doesn't look to me anything like Kiryu Kazama. Like, he doesn't have an imposing look, or I don't know, maybe once they get him in the suit or whatever, he's fine. But I don't know, like they talked in here about how one of the quotes was like, I was worried about it. And then the people at Sega was a quote, the game developers at Sega told me the show is faithful to the games, and then my performance was faithful to Kiryu, so that's enough for me. And I'm like, the people at Sega, what are the people at Ryu to know the studio, the actual studio that makes it? What did they say?
So let's recall that back. He's happy that Sega, the people that need this show to be successful,
right,
are saying that they're happy with his performance. Why would they say any different? Why would he be like, yeah, they said that I sucked and it was not to what they thought, but it's fine. And I gotta say, I am worried about this show because not so much the main character, but because the game is the game, and it doesn't. It's so much funny to me, like in the game, to have the thing. Like, we played that demo, and that was just batshit insanity to the point where I was like, does that translate well into a TV show live action? It's kind of like Attack on Titan, right? Like, that didn't translate well to movie, Like,
right.
The anime is amazing, but it's not translating because it's just not. It's not the story. It doesn't have the medium to be in the actually live world. It needs to be very meticulated and crafted, right? Just like you would in an anime or a video game.
I don't know. Yeah, like it's supposed to take place. I mean, it's good that it's a show, right? So it's not constrained to the 2-hour movie format.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's like he described his Kiryu as quote strong, well-built heroic character that is quote starved for love, and I'm like, starved for love? That's not really the impression that I got off of Kiryu. But then on the other hand, I always like to just, like, I am also sensitive to the idea that it's like, if you guys just made a show that was just Yakuza, like it was just a shot for shot Yakuza, I'd be like, well, I played that. Like I don't know what you want out of me here. So
it's like Fallout, right? Like
right.
Fallout was exciting because it was a new story within the world that we were already accustomed to.
Right. But the thing is, you can't make a Yakuza game that doesn't have.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the Fallout had the benefit of being like, you are who you want to be, and like this game's like, you are this guy. Like this is him.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like who knows? Could work out, could not. We also got the news though that the new Like a Dragon, or the new game from Ryuga Gotoku yeah studio is going to be revealed at the Tokyo Game Show, which is September 26th to September 29th, so right around the corner. I will say right now it is incomprehensible. Like, nobody should be thinking that there's going to be a new Yakuza game. There was a Yakuza game that came out like January. All right, there's not even if they announce maybe because they've already said they're not doing Yakuza Kiwami 3. My money.
These fans out there are spoiled, by the way. There's so many games of this franchise coming out in quick succession.
Yep.
That the disappointment of a game not coming out in this year is like. Shocking.
God, I didn't even play the last one. I've played most of them, but it was so long. Like the one in Hawaii, and I'm like, every time I go back, I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to start over from the beginning, and I already played like 5 hours of it, but I'm gonna have to do all that again. Well, I mean, apparently it's very good, but I just,
well, there's a lot of content there, right? So I think people just, it's good to be excited, but let things come in time, right? Like, it's not always good to get a ton of stuff at once, right? Like, spread it out.
So my money is on either they did that spinoff, the Like a Dragon Gaiden, the Man Who Erased His Name, is something like that, like another Gaiden game, maybe, or maybe a new Judgment game, because the last Judgment game, which is kind of a spinoff series, came out in 2021, or potentially, it's a long shot, there's 2 PSP games that have they're like complete spinoffs that don't have anything to do with these main characters that are really unavailable, and so it's possible that it's like, we're remastering the PSP games to come out with this the other character, because like another character that that I don't think has ever been in any of the other games. I don't know, he might have showed up and I just didn't know who it was, but I don't know. We'll find out soon. So
interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know this game existed either.
Or my personal, the super dark horse is they remade Yakuza 4, I think it was, as a game called Yakuza Dead Souls. This was 2011. I played this for Spill.com, where it's like, this is the Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare of the Yakuza series, or it's the Yakuza series, but there's zombies all over.
With zombies everywhere. That's awesome.
There's like a lot more guns, and it's just like the main characters from the game, but they've all got machine guns now, and they're running around shooting zombies.
I think we're in a timeline where this is acceptable still. Let's re-release. Let's do it again.
Yeah, me too. I would like to see that. Let's see. In other Sega news, this is interesting. I thought this is very, very...
Trollers beware.
Yeah, this is very funny because in the United States, when people troll you online, like you have to go really far in order to have anything really happen to you. But Sega has apparently successfully sued a person in Japan for, like, it's unclear, like, being real shit. Like, what is there? Made excessive, slanderous, and insulting comments on social media against one of our employees for a long time. And then apparently they managed to sue to get their personal information and like dragged them to court to make them fucking stop, and then like had some kind of agreement that happened, I think, outside of court to stop them, to basically be like, no, you gotta fucking stop. And then also it appears that Sega might be, like, they pointed to their specific policy that they might just be like, hey, what are you lawyers doing? Like, just go find another guy. Find another guy that's being a shithead, because, in Japan...
Because Sega's important. I mean, look, I think people that go on social media and harass other people should be dealt with in a manner of, like, if you don't stop, then there should be recourse. So I totally I don't know about, giving out information freely, but certainly what you say matters. So if it's something as crazy as like them going after people and families and saying terrible things, like, yeah, dude, like that just needs to stop. But a campaign to do that against you're just going to invite more trolling. Like that's just going to lead to the opposite of what you want. But I don't know.
I don't. Maybe like I would say that what you just said is very true in the United States. But like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah. I know in England too. Like, if you make certain statements online, like if you're racist online, you can actually be trialed for that. Right.
They have
like
different...
in the States, it's different. Like you wouldn't be, even though that's not the right thing to do or the right thing to say. It's just like legitimately, it is different each part of the world that you exist in.
Yeah, and the Japanese legal system can be. I was reading a whole thing about it. Like it's different. Like a lot of times the Japanese legal system doesn't do like precedent rulings. Like it's all like one-off cases that happen. So it's like, like you don't have to worry as a judge if you rule against this shithead who's been being a wang, like that you're setting a precedent, that you're setting something that's going to then retroactively apply to people moving forward. It's like, no, we can just take this one wang out and then like move on to the next one. Like we don't have to worry about like, oh, but what are you saying about everything? And it's like nothing. I'm saying a specific thing about this one situation, not all situations everywhere forever. To the end of time. So
don't take on Sega. That will come after you.
Yep. In Japan.
Yeah.
Only in Japan. Let's see. Speaking of horrible shit that's happening on the internet, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 has been leaked. I'm using my quote fingers again here. Leaked. This is actually a was it month or year old? It's an old build of the game, but the full thing is online. Apparently, there's like some placeholder assets and stuff, and it's not optimized, but it can be played. And not just that, but apparently, like you can also play the co-op stuff online.
Shit, that's definitely reverse engineered.
Yeah. So Saber has come out and like implored people to be like, "Hey, don't play this." It's like when, It's like when people, the X-Men Origins, when the work print came out, and they were just like, don't go watch this. It's not as good as the final product. And then the final product came out, and I was like, I did watch that work print. This isn't that much better than what I watched.
Yeah, you're trying to hide it, but we all know. But sometimes also, like, it's a publicity thing, right? Like, they want the publicity from a leak for people to start having interest in the game. But I don't know in this scenario if it is because the game's coming out in September, right? Not like... August.
I don't think it is because they've been aggressively DMCA striking anybody that puts up footage from this leaked build and stuff. And, they specifically came out to say, like, usually if this was coordinated by Saber, it would kind of be the lady doth protest too much. Like if you leaked it for publicity, but you're DMCAing everybody who makes a video on it, you're putting out statements saying, "Hey, don't play this." Like
they're like, this is really counter what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, it's the worst marketing strategy of all time. But yeah, I don't know. This is the sequel to the game that I was talking about, and I think that this thing looks fucking rad. So one of the reasons I was thinking about doing a sequential on the last one was because we would finish right about the time that this comes out, that the second one comes out, and man, I love Warhammer. It's so like explodey and violent. Except I want to hit a guy with a chainsaw sword, not like tactically move two armies on my turn, like. I don't know.
I mean, it looks pretty sick, especially if you have like multiplayer.
Yeah, there's a full you can actually play through the entire campaign co-op.
Nice.
Yeah, which is really cool. There's like three player co-op through the entire campaign. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. In other leaks, we got a single screenshot which we think might be from the sequel to BioShock. So, one of the artists for the game put something on there. It's like a LinkedIn thing, and people have looked at this one screenshot, and it's like there's very little here, It's like a gun. It's all in the dark. There's like a gun on one side, and there's like a big glowing orb with kind of some Art Deco arches on it. But then like it kind of looks like you might have like some some plasmid powers here, and like the font is kind of Bioshocky, and we know that there is a team that is working on a Bioshock 4, and we haven't heard anything of it. So people are like, maybe this is.
I don't buy that, man. Look at the GUI looks completely just off. Like, I don't know, like in the top left specifically, I just don't think that that's the next Bioshock look of life and stamina. I don't know. Like, it seems, if it is early test build, whatever, but that looks too primitive. And it actually kind of looks like Fallout assets or something, like in the background, right? Versus the foreground gun. I don't know. I think it's a stretch saying that it's Bioshock. Why? Is it just because the person works at the company that made Bioshock?
Let's see. This is the only Bioshock game. So this image comes from the 2K visual effects artist, but for the sake of privacy, we are refraining from naming or linking. It's from a demo build of the game in 2021 showcase reel.
Parkside code name.
Yeah. So, I mean, it looks like it probably is, but of course, right, this is like, one leaked screenshot from a year ago. Like, okay, who knows, right? This could be nothing. It could be something. And even if it is something, I don't know what we're supposed to get from, like, there's nothing there's not a person. The gun isn't firing. There's not like a power happening. It's like, there's nothing. There's nothing here. There's nothing really outside of a couple of icons that could be from.
Ricochet shotgun is what's there.
Yeah. Ricochet shotgun, which you can't see because it's too dark. A health bar, like a magic bar.
Oh, I actually thought the whole. So the thing on the right, I thought that was the whole gun, but that's not. That's just something in the background. The gun is just on the right hand side. That's.
Oh yeah, you're right. That is okay.
That's crazy. Sorry. So you can't even make out this picture at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I am interested to see what happens with Bioshock 4 because I do like Bioshock, but. Let's see. In other sequel news, it's funny. Sven Vicky was out there talking about how it's really tiring the awards stuff at Baldur's Gate that happened with Baldur's Gate 3, and he's like, I really wish that they would put them all like in the same season because every time they have to send a team, it's like, well, that team is out. They have to fly somewhere. They have to check into a hotel. They have to go.
Man, what a pain in the ass, right? Like, oh, I hate being rewarded because we do have to take time and resources away from the game to then accept the award because we don't want to look bad. Yeah,
like he specifically said that they rotate the teams. That there's like a chunk of the team that gets to go, and then when the next one happens, then they stay. And this chunk of the team.
I'll tell you what. Here's an idea. Hire people that just do it full time, and that's all they do is just accept awards.
Yeah, but
what a job.
I guess it's like, you know, it's a trade-off, right, between being like, I appreciate all of the accolades that are being given to us. On the other hand, like, when is the last one so that I know when I can just tell everybody, like, okay, now just work. Like, let's work on the next thing.
So video game awards in general are kind of over my head a little bit. I know that they stream specific ones a year that are pretty large, but, you know, back in the day, the only thing that I remember basically branding some sort of award-winning thing was E3 something, right? Like top E3 award, way back when,
right?
Or like the greatest hits on PlayStation or some shit, right? Like what specific award is the biggest video game awards? Like
probably, I mean, well, while also being clear that no awards mean anything ever,
right? No, exactly. I get that. Yeah.
You got the Game Awards at the end of the year, but then like I think that. The other one they're talking about is video games are eligible for BAFTAs. And so you'll a lot of times see them at the BAFTAs. I think that like those are probably the opposite ends of the spectrum, right? You've kind of got like the populist
entertainment industry.
People. Yeah. Jeff Keighley showing new trailers and then just like rattling off awards in between. And then on the other side, you've got like, is there even a televised BAFTA thing?
I don't think so. I think there might be a dinner. I think they might have catering. I'm not sure.
Yeah. In between that, I don't know. There's like, I've seen other stuff kind of float through of like independent bodies that give out like, excellence in digital graphics from the blah, blah, blah institute type of thing. And, you know, when you get something like Baldur's Gate 3 that sweeps everything, then it just it just keeps like, oh, okay, some guy in some place I've never heard of is saying that Baldur's Gate 3 has won their award for the thing, and will we please fly out and accept the award? And it's like, well,
fine.
Yes, I will, but like,
I'm running out of shelf space.
We're just like, don't do it. Also, we found out that the next Baldur's Gate 3 patch is going to be pretty big, and it's going to be given a lot of stuff, a lot of different people. Big news for the romance heads, because they talked about all of, like, each one of the characters is getting like very specific like bug fixes and stuff, and a lot of these are about like the romance breaking, the making out not looking right, the like, oh, this didn't trigger this particular flirty thing that's happening, so all that's happening. In addition,
are you telling me that I need to go back and play Baldur's Gate 3 for another 100 hours?
Did you beat it?
Oh yeah, I beat it. Yeah,
okay.
I completed that game. I literally ran through it, and it was a really fun video game experience. Mm-hmm. I would be giving them an award. I'm going to give them the RageSelect award. I think we need to contact them and just say, hey, you got another award to accept.
Speg, you got to come to my house. You got to come to my house. You got to show up. I'm going to give you the award.
We actually got to play Baldur's Gate 3 at my house and accept the award. Yeah,
that's the award.
And you got to tell me all about the game while I'm playing it.
They also have added in some cinematic for the more evil endings. Like, didn't have as many cinematics as before. They've triggered a few things, or like they've moved a few triggers around so that stuff works better. Oh, one of the big things is if you're playing split screen, they now have that
I like this.
Where if you get close to the other player, then it like pops you onto the same screen. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. And then this is also the one that has official mod support finally being integrated into the game, because it has like unofficial support right now. So yeah, big stuff. Nice to see that they're really like nailing it down, finishing it out, and giving you like
just to get more awards at the end of the day.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I don't know. Like, this is one of those ones where you talked early on about like, well, if game companies are doing a bunch of updates, when is your game going to be finished so I can play it? But I've read through the stuff, and outside of like, apparently when Baldur's Gate 3 first launched, all of the companions' horniness levels were actually
it was just like
high.
out of the fucking way too high.
So like 5 minutes after you meet them, they're just like, "Hey man, you want to?" So I don't know. There's maybe another. I've got maybe another.
Do we say the game is worse now than it was at launch?
I don't know. All I know is that once they get mod support in, official mod support, God help us all. Like,
God help us all, dude. It is gonna be on too much.
Yep. Let's see. Dead by Daylight is getting a new mode this week. This is the Dead by Daylight 2v8 mode. So previously, Dead by Daylight was specifically
1v4.
I think it was like either 4 or 5.
It was 1v4. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And now, now
they've doubled it.
Doubled it.
So here's the thing. I've played Dead by Daylight quite a bit, actually. I like to play as Nicolas Cage. Because I can do that in this life, in this timeline. And I think this is an interesting idea. Now, my biggest gripe with Dead by Daylight, and probably why it's not the top game on my list of always played, is because I do feel it gets... I don't like to play as the killer. I like to play as the person running away. And a lot of times I feel like the killer is way overpowered. And you just have to get lucky to get it to escape. And maybe that's the idea. But having 2 and 8 people sounds interesting, but only if I feel like it's going to be easier on the survivor. So I'm actually excited to play this to try it out. But that's my biggest gripe is I'm like, man, I want to be able to move more like dynamically around the monster. And I feel like so like rigid with the controls in this game sometimes. But I do have that sense of, oh shit, like gotta keep going. And I do like that in games. So I'll be playing this one.
Okay. Well, one of the big things they said is that it's limited right now. It's limited to like, I think they said 5 maps, because they actually expanded the maps.
They have to get bigger.
Yeah. Because it would never work with that many players.
You just run into every fucking monster.
And more of the generators, right? Because like, if it was the same number as 4 player, they would knock it out so fast. So,
I'd be fine with that, because fuck the killers, man.
Yeah. Let's see, 8 out of 13 generators to escape the map now. So, yeah,
nice.
Let's see. From there, the Dolphin emulator. Speaking of updates, the Dolphin emulator has launched a tie-in to a website called Retro Achievements that is a specific like independent website that makes game achievements for games that never had achievements. And in this case, they have hooked the Dolphin emulator into all of the GameCube and Wii achievements that this website has created and integrated it into the emulator, which when they first launched it, crashed their website. They actually had to like
too many API calls at once, I'm sure, flooded their system.
Yeah. Actually, I think, yeah.
The servers are fine. Everything is okay. Grandma will be shortly to fix it.
Yeah. Which is a good idea. It's funny to think how it's like, I often love it when independent projects like this link up and it's like, this is why Nintendo's like back catalog sucks, because it's limited and they don't do anything with it. It's just a fucking cash grab to get you to buy their expansion pass thing and like, hey, go fuck yourself. Like,
I genuinely think that this is how is Nintendo not taking this down? Right? Like, didn't they take down a Switch emulator? Is it because it's not current gen that they don't care?
I think they've tried with Dolphin, but Dolphin is like, okay, so the big thing that's happened is that the game companies over time have hidden the encryption keys to their systems in ways that require you to do nefarious bullshit to get that unlock key in order to make the emulator work, which is how they can then have a legal standing to be like, you have to hack our thing, you have to break the TOS in order to do it. But with a lot of older consoles, those keys could be grabbed in specific ways where it's like, well, a court would probably rule against you because nobody had to do anything nefarious.
It's kind of like open source, right? Like with the keys and whatnot. And now it's much more, closed ended, and you have to. Yeah, I get it.
It was that the developers weren't locking that shit down as hard, and so clever people would figure out ways to dump the keys, and like as long as you weren't using something that could be prosecuted to dump the keys, then
you're safe standing, right?
Then
like
fuck
you're
it,
fine.
man. Yeah. So you just reverse engineer the emulator and like good to go. So
Dolphin your shit, get the achievement that you started in, let's go.
Yep. So yeah, what a fun thing. I personally think that Nintendo, whenever emulation in Nintendo comes up, I'm like, how you could eliminate emulation is
make it available.
Do the work to let other people, if I could play Twin Snakes in 4K on my Switch with a bunch of lighting enhancements and achievements turned on, I would do that, Nintendo. But as long as you just sit there with your arms crossed and go, no,
this is not a part of our catalog this year. No.
Yeah, then fuck you. I'm going to go somewhere else. Let's see. Oh boy, we're almost out of time, so let's zip through some of these. I'm going to skip this. We got a brief.
Excuse me.
We got a brief rating by the ESRB that might have slightly spoiled something about the upcoming Zelda Echoes of Wisdom game. So this is the game that was announced the last Nintendo Direct, where you were going to get to play as Zelda. You get to copy chairs and beds and fucking Octoroks and all kinds of stuff. But part of the ESRB listing has said that, because it describes what kind of action there is in the game, and then it says, as Link, players use a sword and arrows to defeat enemies. Zelda can use a magic wand to summon creatures for battle, right? Because that has to be the description of what kind of violence there is in the game. So people are like, oh, you're going to get to play as Link. But the general consensus seems to be that you're going to do this at the very beginning of the game. It's not going to be a thing where you're going back and forth. It'll either be a New Game Plus thing, or as they showed in the trailer, the trailer showed Link and Ganon facing off and then them getting pulled into this dimension, and then Zelda has to go rescue them. So it's possible it could be the first 10 minutes of the game you're playing as Link, and then it's
and then it takes you into the actual story.
And then the rest of it is Zelda. So
what a swerve.
Yep. I don't know. I need to get my hands on this one before I make a judgment call, because I just don't like the idea of yes, Link gets a sword and a shield and arrows, and Zelda gets a magic wand that you can use to duplicate beds.
But it's the wand of Gamelon.
Yeah. Meow. Meow. That's where we're at with my commentary right now. Meow.
Meow.
And last, before we take a break, this is this I think maybe is a bigger deal than it should be, but apparently Nintendo has said, there's been some reports that say that Nintendo will not will not credit external contractors who help translate games into other languages in the actual credits for their game because they're like third-party contractors. But then apparently some of them have to sign like 10-year NDAs, so they can't even put it on their resume. And like a game will come out and they can't even be like, I worked on that, because they literally have an NDA that says like, you can't talk about your involvement with this game.
Is that because they have to blanket it to make sure the game doesn't get delayed? So if they do translation work and then all of a sudden it gets delayed, like they can't have people out there going, "Oh yeah, no, I did work on the new Mario game. It's not going to be out for another 3 years, but I did work." Like I don't understand why a 10-year NDA would be signed to hide the fact that you did anything on a game.
Well, Nintendo is extremely secretive. They're extremely secretive and sensitive to leaks and stuff like that. So it's possible. I get the feeling like if you had to boil this down, I generally would be willing to bet that this isn't about, like, this isn't like Nintendo hates translators. It's that Nintendo does this through contractors. They don't want, like, Nintendo is a very litigious, conservative, and controlling company. They don't want they want third parties under some ironclad fucking lockdowns that are just like, no, we are not letting our IPs go out there and then get leaked by some jerk off in a company. Like if that happens, we're going to come to your company. We're going to fucking track down who did that. We're going to, take them to court with Sega
and tell them that, hey, dad is mad at you.
Yes. But, and then I'd be willing to bet that part of the credits is just that they don't ever include third parties.
Vendors. They just think that they're not employees, so they wouldn't get credited as anything else because they're just a vendor.
Which would really gel with what we know about Nintendo and their attitudes and stuff. But it's still shitty. Like it's still really shitty.
I mean, like in terms of litigation, it's always watered down and murky, but I just always I think about the Mario games and how at the end of most Mario games there's just endless amounts of credits that are done in a very creative way where you try to select them all or shoot them or whatever, where they're going through all of the designers and the people that worked on the game. Like, what is it just to add another line of that? Or you know what I mean? Like what is it to me that's like, what is preventing you from doing that? Like, what are you afraid of litigation wise? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it.
Almost certainly, I'd be willing to bet, I mean, again, just from the stuff that I know about Nintendo, almost certainly this is a policy. And it's just momentum, right? Because why we're not going to change our policy on third-party contractors, because then we'd have to like do work and try to figure out like who.
Yeah, then we'd have to actually try.
And so it's easier just to kind of let that policy keep coasting forward than it is to revisit it, because that would take actual work as opposed to just like, this is something. Also,
it's a no tolerance policy.
Yeah, because like the impression that I get from a lot of Japanese companies is that they also don't like to, they traditionally don't like to swerve. They don't like to make changes on the fly. It takes kind of a lot to like go back and switch around. So it's probably just momentum. But with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We come back. We've got a bunch of trailers and the rest of the show. So stick around, everybody.
Ooh, exciting.
We'll see you here in just a minute. And we're back. And it's time for the final stretch, and that means it's time for the trailers. So last week we got a little teaser about something on the Nintendo YouTube channel about the Smiling Man, and we found out this week what that is. This is Emio the Smiling Man, which is a new Famicom Detective Club game. So, Blake, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Famicom Detective Club was a NES franchise that never came to the States, and then in 2021, I believe, they remastered it and then put it out here. They put out the first two games on the Switch. With like remastered content, and now they're like making a third one, and this is about like a weird urban legend that they made up about like, the guy that walks around looking for girls that are sad, and he says, I can make you happy, and then like puts a bag over their head with a smiley face on it and fucking kills them, and it's like, oh god.
That seems very not Nintendo.
Yeah, but it really does sound like a weird Japanese urban legend. Like it
Yes,
really
it does. That
sound
is
like a
true. It
Japanese
hits the
urban
marker
legend.
there. Yeah.
Like if you told me this was a Juji Ito book, I would totally believe you.
Spiral out of control.
Yeah. But yeah, and not only that, but this is coming out, I believe, in September. It looks like it's got the same team and everything, the guy that did the original remastering and stuff. And they put out a little video kind of talking about it, showing some, I mean, these games are like visual novels. They're not,
Right.
not like huge productions, but yeah, I don't know. I'm always in favor of I like that we're getting a lot of detective games recently. Like stuff like
that is something that doesn't seem like we've missed the mark of detective games these days. You know what I mean? Like we haven't had a good detective game. I mean, Ace what is it?
Ace Attorney?
Ace Attorney is a good one, but I don't really think that's the detective style that this one is going to capture as well. So this looks interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Between this and stuff like Case of the Golden Idol or Duck Detective and the Secret Salami, or I want more detection. I want more detection in my life, and so this is going to scratch that itch. Yeah. Let's see from there. Speaking of like horrible horror show, we actually have a bunch of horror stuff. We got another trailer for the casting of Frank Stone that is also coming with a release date. So this is the Supermassive Games spin-off from the Dead by Daylight universe that is a single-player narrative game that looks so much like The Quarry
Dead by Daylight,
yeah, what the hell? What was the name of their first game?
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn, yes. Until Dawn or The Quarry or any of the other stuff that they've made. It seems to have almost no Dead by... I can't see how I would look at this and be like...
the character models look like Dead by Daylight for sure, but yeah, everything else around it does not vibe into that, yeah.
Like, I almost kind of wish that they would use the actual characters from Dead by Daylight.
I thought that's what this was. I thought they were actually going to take some of those. They have some pretty decent 5 characters that they've actually started with when Dead by Daylight came out that you could pick from.
Yeah, that
seem to have their own generic traits and characteristics that they could have used. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm interested in this one. I like the idea because it's like it's a bunch of kids kind of like trying to shoot a low budget horror movie, but then it turns out that there was like an actual murder here, and so I often like it. I really do tend to like it when horror movies do the this is a horror movie in a horror movie kind of thing. Like it's a horror movie about making a horror movie. I don't know.
It's like Inception of horror movies.
Like, do people like the last Friday the last Nightmare on Elm Street one where it's all meta, where she goes and talks to fucking the director, and it's got Nancy back, but it's like her as the actress. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I don't. I mean, in terms of I don't know if people received that well. I think it's a fine movie, but yeah, I think a lot of the older villainous monster killer slasher movies just doesn't really translate well as you try to re-release them or relaunch them, because people have already seen that trope a million times, right? So they're almost better suited franchise and IP-wise inside these types of games where you can just appreciate them and just use them as they are, right?
Ooh, you know what's a good one that does that? Perfect Blue. Have you seen Perfect Blue? The anime movie?
No, I haven't.
Where it's like the idol, but then it's real meta about the person and then the idol, and I don't know. It's very weird. It's very interesting. Everybody should go watch Perfect Blue.
I have to check that out. Yeah. I love me some anime.
Yeah. Let's see. We also got the announcement or a little teaser, actual trailer of Lara Croft in Dead by Daylight. She's one of the next people there. This is such a good choice for people to add to Dead by Daylight. I like the
aesthetics of the characters and the character model and the actual environment or level they put in. It looks exactly on point.
Yeah. It almost looks like a Fortnite version of Lara Croft, like better than that, but not quite photorealistic, definitely stylized.
You can see her pulling out the sniper rifle and going for the killer.
Yeah, that's the only unfortunate thing is sometimes when they add some of the survivors in where it's like, well, this person would be armed, they would actually fight a little bit, but but she's out right now, so you can check it out.
Go Tomb Raider yourself.
Yep. Let's see. We got the launch trailer
this one was interesting, I thought.
Well, the day that this podcast comes out, we put out our video for this. This game is only about 40 minutes long, so it's a full playthrough. This is Clickholding, the latest game by the guy who made El Paso Elsewhere is probably the most notable thing that he's made. Also, a game called I Am Your Beast that there was a demo for that they announced that I really liked, and it's basically you with a little clicker that like count the people that go into like a building in a weird hotel room, like a spooky hotel room with a guy in a weird mask who wants you to keep clicking this clicker while standing in different places and looking at different stuff. And it's a very strange game that I don't know if we really got the point of, because we were like early on in the game, the guy says like I'll give you like I'm paying you $14,000 to click this clicker 10,000 times, and Amanda and I were both like, well shit, yeah man, what else do you want me to do? You want me to take my pants off while you do this? Like what? Like
this seems to be very easy for myself. Like what are we doing here?
It's supposed to be like very ominous. We're just like $14,000 in this economy. What do you want me to do it twice? I'll do whatever you want. This game is also $2.50. Like it's a very
that sounds awesome
micro game. You can finish it in 40 minutes. The only problem is that I found out we hit a bug. We got to the very end of the game and there was something that was supposed to happen and it just didn't happen. And so
that's a bummer.
Yeah, we missed out on kind of the final scene that happens. So yeah, I don't know. I like weird micro experimental games. So
especially for 40 minutes and $2. Heck yeah, that sounds like a good deal.
Yeah. What's that thing? Do you know that? What was it, like a tweet or Reddit post or something? It's like, I want smaller games with worse graphics made by smaller teams that are paid more and work less, and I really mean it.
like this is what I want now.
Yeah. I never heard of Puppet House before. I looked up these trailers.
I haven't either. This looks interesting too.
It's like kind of going into this creepy house, and there's like a little looks like a ventriloquist dummy puppet, like chasing you around, kind of Puppet Master vibes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see. Like, I like that. I feel like we're getting a lot. Like, we had a point where there used to be mainstream horror games, and then when the indie horror game stuff started, at first it was all like Slender Man and Five Nights at Freddy's, and then I feel like we're getting more diversity in like what kind of horror games we're getting, even though this one does kind of look like you're just going to be running away from a little puppet with a knife.
There was one that came out recently too. I was watching people play on Twitch. Was Supernatural. I don't know if you saw that. That was a very interesting game as well.
Oh yeah.
But there's all that's why all these indie horror games are coming out, and they are hitting a niche for sure.
Yeah. So I think that's coming out later this year. I don't know, or it might have gotten a full. Okay, sometime in 2024. So let's see. We got the launch trailer for Evil v Evil, which is I don't know about this one. I mean, like I was hoping it was going to be free to play, because I'm kind of interested in the concept of like you play a bunch of like underworld style vampire badasses with like powers and guns fighting like a cult of weirdos that are trying to do some bullshit. So it's like vampires versus cult guys. But to me, I remember when we first saw the trailer for this, the first trailer, I'm like, I don't know, man, that could be fun, but it also looks kind of generic in a way where it could just end up being monotonous and boring. And I don't really want to pay $30 to find out.
Yeah,
which
$30 seems like a high price point for finding that out.
I don't know, because like there's nothing necessarily that means that this could be wrong, but then the people that will buy a game like this on Steam aren't exactly like the most impartial people when it comes to giving a game like a score, like their thoughts on it. So I don't know. What do you think? Like, I think this is probably the first time you're seeing this. This is the second time I am. So
I actually at first I thought it was like it kind of reminds me of a little bit of a Magic backstory or Magic lore that you would see, but it is it one of those Overwatch type games where you're picking a character and doing that type of setup, or what is it? I guess I'm not understanding the actual. Is it an open world, or what's the?
I think it's just going to be like. By the way, it's $20, not $30, just to make sure.
Oh, that's okay. That's
I think it's like what Killing Floor or kind of like Left 4 Dead type of thing, where it's like it's a specific bespoke level, and then it's like you, and then up to 200 people.
Levels,
yeah, right? And they're just full of monsters, and your whole goal is to eliminate a certain number of them.
I could see myself playing this. I can see myself playing it.
I don't know. It's got mostly positive on Steam. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of interesting stuff out right now, so I don't know if I want to play this. Let's see. We got a couple of cinematic trailers for Concord. These are both just none of this is gameplay. They had a closed beta, I think, that happened last week, but none of this is gameplay. This is all like cinematics setting up the story. Really, really hardcore Guardians of the Galaxy vibes here with this spaceship full of space losers. Oh, it's a mismatched pair of crazy people. There's a robot guy. There's like a big dude. There's like a snarky dude.
The cinematics and the story in this actually is really good. Yeah. But I just literally tune out as it's another Overwatch. It's another, like you're picking characters and fighting against a 5v5,
See, okay, here's the thing, is that I keep coming back to this and going I liked Overwatch before Blizzard fucked it all up.
Bastardized it.
Yeah, they made it an esports. So, if this has this level of, good writing and production, but then the actual game is more like old school Overwatch, where it doesn't have a super high skill ceiling and it's not gunning for the esports scene, it's just made for everybody to come and have fun with, that could end up being a winning combination. I just can't tell because, again, it's hard to find out, getting the opinions of people that played the beta. I need somebody to just be no, this is like Overwatch 1, when Overwatch 1 came out, where it's just fun, you go, you can play, you don't have to be a fucking super genius to play it. So
yeah, I agree. The entry point has to be very low for people to actually stick around and have fun, especially if they're no, I don't want to be an esports player, I just want to have fun.
Yeah, exactly. Because they also talked about how they want to produce one or two of these cutscenes every couple of weeks to further the narrative, to kind of fill in one of the things that Overwatch wasn't very good at was that they were very good at characters that evoked a story, but then they would trickle that story out in every so often there'd be a trailer that filled in a little thing, or there'd be a comic, or there'd be a thing. Whereas if you had something that played like Overwatch 1, but then it had a scheduled production, and then this week we're going to get the second half of this person's storyline, and then it's a constant thing instead of just an every so often thing. Again, that could be really compelling. I need to know that's what it is, and that it's not a super high skill ceiling esports thing, because I'm no good at those games, and so they make me feel bad when I play them. So
fair enough.
I don't know. There were two of these, and they both kind of went into the backstory of the universe, and this kind of, one of them was a little bit more full on. The first one was more of a cinematic, and this one I feel is using more of the in-game models. The second one, and is talking more about the backstory, and I don't know. It seems cute, but again, if it's
a little Groot. I'm just kidding.
Again, as the other problem with this is that if it's just good cutscenes, right, and if that's the only part of the game I want to engage with, I can watch those on YouTube. Sorry,
exactly.
Concord.
You just put them together in a compilation, and we are set.
Exactly. Let's see. From there, we got the official Takeda gameplay trailer for Mortal Kombat 1. Takeda was the person I cared least about in the first season pass, so also my enthusiasm for Mortal Kombat 1 has dwindled more and more as time has gone on. Seems pretty cool. I mean, he's got it's kind of chain whips, kind of Whiplash and Iron Man 2, but with spikes, and he seems like a good addition to the roster, but I don't know. I like Mortal Kombat. I liked the Mortal Kombat 1 story mode, and I didn't feel cheated playing through it. But the other Mortal Kombats had these towers and things to do that a single player person could do for challenges. And the mode they put in this one isn't that. It's not very good or compelling. So I just haven't really gone back. I don't know. Maybe season 2 will bring in more towers. But did you play Mortal Kombat 1? At all?
I did a little bit. I haven't really gone through the story modes since, I don't know, one of the I can't even tell you the last Mortal Kombat game I played through the entire story. It would have to go back in like 2010 or 2011. But I genuinely think that there is no more originality in characters to the point where we're like, I don't. He kind of looks like a cyborg / ninja, which is, I'm assuming, kind of like a hybrid thing. But yeah, I think he looks great. But he just looks like everything else in there isn't a distinctive call out where like this looks like a great new character.
Well, he is a returning character, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Which is probably why he looks a little bit more generic. But yeah, I don't know. Season 2, we've got some leaks that potentially, because season 1 had like Omni-Man, Homelander, and Peacemaker as part of the pass, and we got a leak that said Ghostface from Scream, Conan the Barbarian, and then I can't remember who the third one was, but
I bet it'd be like Red Sonja or something. Would be cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of stuff that you might have seen in movies or TV, we got the announcement trailer for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants Unleashed, which makes, I believe, the third Ninja Turtle game to come out this year. And this is the one based on the Mutant Mayhem movie from last year. So it's using those turtle designs and those enemy designs. And it looks pretty good. I wish it had a little bit more of the stylistic flair that the movie had, like mostly in the characters, not necessarily the backgrounds. Like the city and stuff looks good, but yeah, I don't know. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, like, it looks very true to the story and the homage to the actual adaptation that came out recently. I think Ninja Turtle games are so much fun and will always be that like the classic beat 'em up style game that will always work. I don't know. So anytime that you make a Turtles game, it should be good. Like you find a formula and you don't navigate away from it. So I'm excited to see what they've added into this to the same formula that we're used to.
Yeah. I don't know. I still got last week, we didn't get a chance to play it yet, but last week they put out the one that was on the Apple Arcade that's like Hades. It's like a roguelike. And I really want to check that one out. I don't know. I like this movie a lot, so this is coming out in October. Yeah, definitely be giving it a shot.
Nice.
Let's see. From there, speaking of beat 'em up games, they're making the Karate Kid Street Rumble, which is it's very weird. It's like a 4-person beat 'em up, but to me the weird thing is the roster, because it's a throwback to the 80s, and it's Daniel and it's that lady that he hooked up with in Okinawa. And then it's like Mr. Miyagi and Daniel's girlfriend, Allie, from the original one. I'm like, I don't remember Allie doing a lot of kung fu moves. And I don't remember.
But wait, hang on. Is that Allie, or is that the Street Fighter, or not Street Fighter, the Karate Kid 3 with the female lead?
Oh, 4 with Hilary Swank.
Yeah, is that just the Hilary Swank character? Or is that actually his
she is dressed up specifically like Allie was in this part. Plus, all the stuff they're showing, it's from Karate Kid 1 and 2. It's like the skeleton Cobra Kai guys and like the Japanese dude. So
gang and stuff. You know what? I'll tell you what. This game is not going to be true to the canon unless by level 2 it's impossible and you are just fucking pulling your hair out and it's just like the wind is fucking pushing your character back, or you're dodging bowling balls from the fuck. Have you ever played the NES fucking Back to the Future game? Not Back to the Future.
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid games. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my god, those games were so hard. I think I'm confusing Back to the Future, by the way, with the bowling balls. But yes, the actual like wind level, which I think was either the first one, it just gets ridiculously hard. I think there's only like 4 levels in the game.
Where it's like it's blowing stuff at you and you keep getting
you're trying to like jump and all that, then you die. Yeah.
I mean, this is pretty good. It looks all right for just like, for what it is. It's
I'll play it.
Again, it's
I'll
a little strange, but I don't know. Let's see. From there, we got the announcement trailer for a game called Neverness to Everness. And this is like
interesting title.
Yeah. I looked at this and I was like, is this Zenless Zone Zero, or like what is this? And apparently it's like an open world RPG. It's got that really like kind of hyper stylized, like lots of really bright colors and stuff with these like really kind of well put together 3D animated anime characters. It's being made by
like if Splatoon and Persona 5 had a baby or something.
Yeah, there's no gameplay in here. It's kind of just like a style thing. It's being made by who is it? It's Perfect World Entertainment, who haven't done a lot of stuff like this, but I feel like this is trying to cash in on like the Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, kind of, you know, the waifu factories that Hoyoverse has been putting out, because every single character looks like some kind of waifu in this trailer. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe show me a little bit more about what the game is, because I mean, this trailer is like 4 minutes long, and it goes hard for all 4 minutes, and yet there's nothing in here that looks like actual gameplay.
Yeah.
So
It just looks like an anime.
Yeah, it looks like an anime intro that goes on for a long time. So, but I don't know. Put it on my radar. Let's see. We got the launch trailer for Nobody Wants to Die. Michael and I played this last week. I finally figured out what the deal is with this game, because it was announced, and then it was like, it was supposed to come out this week, and I was looking at it the entire time like, surely this is going to be delayed, because this is really detailed, like neo-noir, futuristic, like hard-boiled detective game where you play as a detective in a world where you can get new bodies, but somebody's been actually murdered, and you're like a hard drinking gumshoe on the case, and you've got like a little gauntlet that lets you turn time back and forth to like look for clues and stuff. And
it's almost like Altered Carbon. Did you ever watch that show on Netflix?
Yeah.
It kind of has this weird vibe to that.
Yeah, because it's got the kind of like weird retro, like 1950s malls and
like detective stories that you're just kind of like forced into, and the person has to like figure it out, even though he has no bearing whatsoever into what's happening. Like he has no affiliation with anything going on.
Yeah, so we played it, and we played about an hour and 20 minutes of it, and I was like, this seems great. Like there's not a lot of like, it's mostly just kind of a walking simulator where you're kind of going to places and you're put, like, there isn't a lot of like gameplay to succeed or fail at. Like it's mostly just kind of an interactive story, even though I do see there's one part of this trailer where the guy's holding an actual gun. So I kept asking myself, it's like, okay, this game is $40, it came out of nowhere, it seems great, what the hell is the deal with it? And I finally looked it up, and it was like, it's 5 hours long. That's the deal with it, right?
Got it.
So like modern gamers would kick pretty hard if they were sold a $70 game, because you look at the graphics and you're like, this is like a fucking AAA fucking game.
Yeah.
The music is great, the style is great, everything. Like, what's the deal? I finally figured out the deal. But is this the first time you've seen this though, right?
Yeah, this looks amazing. I'll definitely check out the RageSelect video that just dropped today. Is that right?
Oh no, it'll be last week.
Last week, yeah.
By the time this comes out, it'll have been a few days ago. So
nice.
The day we're recording this is the day that we put out the first one. So, but yeah, it's the other thing for me is that I might actually go back and play this, because it's only 5 hours. Yeah,
that's just a night.
It's a Sunday afternoon, man. Like I ain't got shit to do. Fucking just pick out and sit out on the couch and just roll through it. See how it goes.
I mean, legitimately, it's just like watching a movie, just a long movie.
Yeah. So there you go. Let's see. We also got the launch trailer for Infinite Inside for the PSVR 2. This has actually been out for a little while on the Oculus, I believe. But this is like a weird puzzle game where this kind of like this kind of statue of blocks shows up in your apartment. You've got to start taking them apart.
Kind of reminds me of like Hellraiser or something in a weird way. Like it's just like a Hellraiser with Lego blocks and that weird like never-ending staircase picture or whatever.
Yeah, like MC Escher stuff where you're trying to like you're trying to fit these pieces together, and then like they unlock more pieces, and then that like unlocks a portal to like this world that's made of the pieces. I don't know. Seems interesting. I've been looking for something to play on my PSVR 2. Not totally sold on this yet, but it's got really good reviews.
Nice. Probably very engaging, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. It's also weird, though, playing a VR game where you've got to keep picking stuff up because you can't actually feel yourself picking stuff up in VR, so you've got to kind of pretend.
Yeah, that does kind of get a little weird at some point, too. You're like, oh.
Also, the PSVR 2 has the weird, like, handle gun controls. And so it's like, well, am I using I'm picking up with my
pincers.
Yeah, my pincers.
Crabs.
Like, it's like I'd open up my whole hand or anything. So, I don't know. Kind of interesting. Let's see. After that, we got a quick look at the Plucky Squire, which is something I haven't seen in a little while. This is the Devolver Digital game where you literally play as like as a 2D character in a storybook that then manages to jump out of that storybook onto a desk and then can move between, like, part of this trailer is watching them go into like a mug or like a little plastic container full of like army guys or something like that, to solve various quests. I don't know.
It's funny you say that because it reminds me of the army games a little bit until it goes into this like dynamic 2D world, outside, because it just looks like a battlefield where you just would fight with army guys.
Yeah. And this is a pretty fun because you go into this coffee mug and you get this little rocket guy that wants you to help find these pieces. And so then when you come out of the mug, out of the 2D in the mug, your 3D character has the little rocket guy strapped to your back. And so you could do like these little rocket jumps and stuff, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. This all looks, ever since the first time I saw this game, it looks so super charming and like a nice little, just, a little romp, it reminds me a lot of It Takes Two from a few years back, where the mom and dad become the little dolls. So
yep.
Yeah, more games where you shrink down, please.
It does look fun. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Little Big Planet, but in a 3D world. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, especially because you're moving into like different perspectives and between different things that have like different styles and stuff. So, yeah. Let's see. From there, we got the launch trailer for Flock. This is, I believe, the latest one from the developers that made Hohokum, which was like an old game where you kind of just flew around and kind of got little guys to follow you. Well, here it's a big 3D game where you fly around and you get guys to follow you.
They're like, we have the same idea, but we're going to do it differently.
Yeah. It's literally a game where you fly around on the back of a bird and then you try to get other birds to become part of your flock so you can fly around with them. This might end up being a little too cozy, even for me. They keep showing it, and I keep going like, I mean, I guess, but like,
is that it?
Yeah. What else? They're like, yeah, and there's sheep, and you could raise the sheep, and I'm like, oh, okay. And the sheep provide a valuable resource. I'm like, oh, what's that? Wool. I'm like, oh, okay. What do you need the wool for? Like different hats to put on your character to make them look funky and stuff. And I'm like,
not selling me there.
I don't know.
This is Fly Away Home, the video game.
This is on Game Pass, so I might check it out just because I don't have to pay for it. It's like super cynical, but like, I don't know.
It kind of looks like a concept game or something, where it's like we're working more so on the mechanics than we are the actual game itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, part of it too is that it's like it's really building itself as a multiplayer game where it's like, yeah, you can log on with your buddies and just like chill in this place and go do stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. So I need more than that sometimes. That just like
we have Pal World at home.
Yeah, I don't know. I've said it before. I'll say it again. There are games that are meant to stimulate you, and there are games that are meant to relax you. And I generally do not care for the latter because I want games that get my blood pumping, where I'm just like, bah! So, yeah, let's see. From there, we got probably my most related game of all time, a game called Exhausted Man, where you just play as like a guy that needs to go to bed, but he's like slithering around like completely.
This is accurate. This is like 2 hours from now for me.
Just completely like dead and like reaching up to get like sodas. I like where he slithers up onto his chair. Just like doesn't even sit in it. He just like moves like a snake.
It's like the octopus game.
Octodad. Yeah.
Octodad. Yeah.
Yeah. The Dadliest Catch. I'm a sucker for these weird physics games where you just act all goofy and shit. I love them. Surgery Simulator and Octodad and stuff like that. Also, I was looking this game up. I think it might have been on like the PlayStation Network, and for some reason, the little thumbnail, yeah, the little icon for it on the PSN store was in Spanish, and so it was Hombre Exhausto, and I was like, that's what you guys should have called this game.
That's a perfect name for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I love dumb shit like this. Like, it looks very cute.
It does look cute. It looks cool.
And very relatable to all of us. And it's coming like the 25th. It's coming out next week. So
nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Check it out.
Yeah. We got a big extended gameplay trailer for the latest Sims 4 expansion, Love Struck. This is the one that adds basically a few things. It adds a Tinder into the game, like a specific app on your Sims phone that basically is a Tinder. And then it expands the dating experience in the game more, so you can go out on specific types of dates.
Sims is still a thing, huh?
Yep,
it's still kicking. I think this is cool and looks very progressive in terms of the open relationships and things that you can do dynamically in the game, which is cool. But damn, this is still being released. Like these games are still being supported in expansion packs.
They actually, part of this is an update that just adds polyamory to the game, which I'm like, well, the whole thing with The Sims, right, is that people want to be able to put themselves into the game. So, now that there's more people engaging in that type of relationship, you should probably have it as an option for people to be able. It's the same way as when they added same-sex relationships to the game, where it's like, people do that. They want to see themselves in The Sims. They want to put themselves in the Sim. Yeah. Yep. So, I don't know. It's funny too, because this trailer is kind of a little cinematic. I saw some people in the comments complaining about how the game looked, and I think The Sims 4 still looks pretty good. It's not it doesn't have all the super shading and lighting effects of modern games, but the characters are styled in a way that when did Sims 4 come out? It was in 2014. That game is 10 years old. So
yeah, that's insane. Yeah, that looks fine, specifically because it looks kind of like Fortnite.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to tell the two apart.
Yep. Yeah, and the only thing with The Sims 4 that I worry about is I wish they would sell it as a subscription thing, because I'm not paying for 10 years of expansions. It would be like let's see, if we go to the Steam store and we go to Sims 4. Sims 4 is free, and then we go to content for the game and we browse all 82 expansions. Do they have the thing still where if you go to the bottom, it's $1,284 for all of the DLC for The Sims 4?
I'm gonna wait for that Steam sale.
Are you fucking kidding me? Goddamn, dude. Goddamn. I don't know. I don't even think you can get all this.
Let it die, dude. Let Sims 4 just die.
Or just start it over so that we can all try again. We can all see how many of these things we want to keep up with, as opposed to just here's another $5 one. Here's a lot of these are $40. Eco Lifestyle, Discover University, Get Famous, Island Living, Get Together. What is Get Together? Is that oh, okay. Yeah,
probably released during COVID.
Damn, man. Horse Ranch expansion for $40.
Now we're talking.
Wowzers. Yeah, that's a lot. And we also got the release is complete fucking tonal shift. The release date for a game called Breachway, which is a game that I have been interested in. I played the demo for it during the summer game demo time, whatever they called it. It's like a card game, but it's a spaceship game. So you're flying around and you kind of get into, you get to choose where you go, and then you get different kind of resources. But then when you go to the actual combat with other stuff, it's a card game. So you use the specific cards to.
It's kind of it's like FTL with card games, and you're not going inside the ship. You're worried about the outside exterior side of it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I get real finicky about my card games, but I do love me some space shit. And this is some space shit. So
some space shit.
I don't know. As a card guy, does this appeal at all?
A little bit. I think mainly I'm a big space adventurer type person myself, but I don't like the complexity of most space. What is it? Eve 6? No, that's a band. Eve Online.
Eve Online.
like Eve 6. It's too deep for me.
Right.
No, Eve Online is too complex, right? It's amazing as it is, and seeing the stories and watching YouTube videos of people really get into it is awesome. But I want a little bit of simplicity. But this looks like it hits all types of different, interest for me. So I think I could dig it.
Kind of sounds like you need to play No Man's Sky, to be honest with what you just described.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. After watching the first, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe now is the time to get into it.
Yeah, that's going into early access on August 30th.
Nice.
And then, let's finish it up here. We got the announcement that there's going to be a new Orcs Must Die game, Orcs Must Die Death Trap. I'm like, do an Obi-Wan here of like that's a
game I haven't heard in a long time.
Yep, but they got out a trailer for it. It looks an awful lot like Orcs Must Die. You're setting up kind of complicated traps for the tower defense. I mean, hell, Capcom put out a tower defense game last week, so maybe tower defense is back. Who can say? But yeah, have you ever played Orcs Must Die? I never really got into it. It was a weird franchise. Where
I did that Birds game. That was the one. That was the only one. What was the
Birds?
The Angry Birds. I feel like that's somewhat a little bit like Orcs Must Die and be in the same like wheelhouse. I don't know.
Oh,
probably
okay.
more so. Maybe like Balloons. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, Angry Birds is like that's like knocking down stuff, right?
I literally put the two and two together because it's like Orcs Must Die, Angry Birds. Like I don't know. Maybe they're not the same, but I understand that like Orcs Must Die is more like Balloons or the Monkey Balloons game or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I just all of those tower defense or all of those like very linear type games. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really play this stuff.
The big thing with Orcs Must Die that I think was always been a selling point is that you set up all the traps, but then it's also a third-person action game where you have to go out and kill the stuff that gets by your traps, like yourself. So
gotcha.
But I'm still a little meh. This is so weird. This is so weird. I put this on the list because I was low on stories, but there's a new game out on Steam that's called what's it called? It's called Yeah, You Want Those Games Right? And this is Yeah, You Want Those Games Right too, that came out this week. I didn't know what this was. I don't know if you looked at this, Blake, but like what this is it's the games that they put it's a thing that simulates the games where they have those little flash ads that come up of like the guys where it's like, oh, you're level 1 and then you got to like drag them to the level 2 guys to get the sword and then you got to drag them to the armor, or like, oh, you got to shoot the gun that ricochets through to hit the guy, or you got to pull the things out where the lava comes down. Except those games aren't actually that game. Those ads are for games that are not that game. Like if you go and click on that ad, it's not actually that game. And this is just a thing on Steam where they're
collected all of them.
No, where they're actually making those games, except they're making them with like stick figures and shit instead of like the little hero guys. So
I just get E-Bombs World vibes watching this. You know what I mean? But yes, I remember that. I remember all of these stupid ads too, where all those games are like, yeah, like the giant zombie shit that's always on phone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that they have that where it's like you're running, and they put in those horrible flash ads where you always watch them and then they do the wrong thing and you're like, why did you do that?
Why would you go left?
I'm going to click on it and then play that actual game, but it's not that game. It's not that game. And this is actually the second one, because there was another one called Yeah, You Want Those Games Right? Except that I think this first one, it had fewer, like it was more like it had the one where it's like you're dragging between different levels of like a tower, but then some of these, like this one is just the actual parking game. Like that's an actual game, not I didn't see that on like an ad, but I don't know.
Like so they added more of the typical tropes that you would see in those things.
Well, these are just like, this is Towers of Hanoi kind of stuff, like this one with the weird stuff. So some of these are like what you would see in a flash ad, but the second one seems like it's got a lot more to it. I don't know. I gotta admit, I'm somewhat tempted because I do want to play the games in those stupid ass ads, but they're not real.
They're not real. They were just imagination.
Yeah, but I just wish that they weren't stick figures. I wish they did like some kind of parody of the actual things that are in, like the actual character designs that are in those things. So
take it one step further.
Yeah. Let's see. We also found out that Greedfall 2 is going into early access this September. So I don't know. This article kind of frames it where there have been a lot of studio closures for some of what they call the Eurojank studios. Like last week, Piranha Bytes got shut down, but Spiders, the European company that did Greedfall and a bunch of other kind of janky but compelling games, they're still up and running, and they're still putting Greedfall 2 into early access on September 24th. So keep an eye out for that. Yep. Let's see. We also found out that there was a team that was doing work on a Fallout mod based on Van Buren, which was the Fallout 3 3D Fallout 3 that's been like kind of historically talked about to death. It was going to be 3D. They released a few gameplay videos of it. Then they released like kind of the source code or some post-launch docs. And so the internet has been trying to rebuild this game that never actually got made for a long time. And now this team has made a thing called Fallout Yesterday. It's on Nexus Mods, and it's technically a mod for Fallout like 1 that adds a bunch of the stuff that was supposed to be in that game, but you can play it in Fallout 1. So
that's awesome. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. The one thing people are kind of weird about is that like it's got the Hoover Dam in it, and the Hoover Dam was a big plot point in Fallout New Vegas. But like one of the people that worked on the Van Buren team was like the design lead on New Vegas, so obviously that's where that came from.
1 and 1, 2, yeah, yep.
And then let's finish up with a few fun things. We got another half of what I always put at the end of this podcast is just Elden Ring mods. We got a mod for Elden Ring that's pretty fun that allows you to basically just like summon the bosses from the DLC as like summons in the game. So it's like a video that I found online that's just summoning Mesmer, the kind of one of the big bads from the expansion. To if somebody's seeing if they could beat all of the DLC with just this boss, yeah, as their weapon, which is pretty fun. Yeah, interesting stuff. They also had one. I don't know if you've seen this, but okay. So in Fallout God, it's so tired. In Elden Ring, in the DLC for Elden Ring, I'm not going to go into specifics, but there's a part in the game where there's an NPC quest where you summon an NPC to this boss fight, and he just starts screaming at the boss. He just starts yelling insults and just like, and people love it because it's so amazing that you, like normally you summon somebody and they don't have voice lines. They just come into your game and they fight. You summon this guy and he's just like, hey, you piece of shit, I'm here. Fuck your mother. You're going to hell and I'm going to send you there. Like just like yelling in the background of this epic boss fight. This guy just starts fucking going off.
That sounds like it would deter me and throw me off the actual boss fight because I'd be laughing.
Yeah, but the fun thing is that we had there was an interview with the guy that did the voice for it, and he said that like there's literally about 7 minutes worth of audio that the guy did, and apparently it was like 5 hours of recording because
oh my God.
He would do it and then they would have like the team would take it back to Miyazaki and ask him about it, and then he would answer. They would come back and they would say what he said, and he said that like he kept coming back and asking him if he could do it basically like harder and more, and like he specifically asked, can you explode, like like, and so this is how they got this this take from this guy. Yeah, he was just like he said he would go. What does he say? He would give
not
it as
to
much.
5,000.
I would giving it as much as I possibly could, vocally, emotionally, neck straining, vocal cords ripping, everything, and just screaming. And then he would stop and he'd go get some water and he would take a break. He'd let his vocal cords cool down. He'd get the feedback and he'd come back in and do even more. But like what's there is iconic. I will play it for you at the end of the
It'll be there for the end of time now.
Yeah. So. It's pretty great. It's so grueling to hear. It's interesting to hear how much of a hands-on director Miyazaki is for this kind of stuff, as all the way down to like being in the recording booth. Yeah. Let's see. Switching lanes entirely. Somebody has put Doom on a sex toy. So this is a person who got Doom running on like a electric toothbrush. They decided their next thing was this. Basically, it's like a fleshlight that has a screen on it, and they basically hacked Doom into it. And it, like, there's a bunch of buttons at the top, so you can control Doom via the buttons at the top. And then they even programmed it so that whenever you shoot the gun, it makes the whole thing like vibrate a little bit because because people will put Doom on anything. I've seen Doom running on
they have a head port jack too.
Yep. It's got a USB-C charger in the back, and they made it so that when you're playing Doom, if you plug in USB-C headphones into it, it outputs the audio soundtrack onto the headphones.
I'm just impressed. I'm not even mad. It's just impressive.
Yep. I don't know if this beats the pregnancy
Pun,
test.
Phrasing.
Like the tiny little black and white readout, like with like 8 pixels on a pregnancy test that somebody got Doom running on, but it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. Not as impressive, though, as our last story, and that is Xbox's newest controller, and it's a Deadpool controller, and it's pretty amazing. The front is red, and it's textured like Deadpool's outfit. It's got little straps on it, and the back has his ass. It's just a giant ass on the back of a controller.
I can't think this controller is going to be anything more than a collector's item because it cannot be comfortable.
Unfortunately, this goes into the category of there's only like one of these, and it's a giveaway thing where you've got to retweet.
Oh, yeah.
You can't buy this. You've got to get it from winning a thing off of Xbox. I think there's also like God damn it, I can't go to Xbox's website. There's an Xbox that pairs with this thing that has like swords that go in little sheaths on it as well. So it's kind of like a whole.
Cool. Why wouldn't they sell that? I think that would do well.
I don't know. They make these things as like a one of a kind. I think that they just don't have the infrastructure to be able. Like, I think this thing was like handmade. It wasn't like produced in any kind of manufacturing facility. So they don't have the wherewithal to print out, a bunch of these. But like,
use more butts to get the butts in the seat.
Why not? Why not? Look at the ass on that controller.
Look at the ass on that Deadpool's controller.
And with that, we're done with yet another podcast. Blake, we finished. We've done it.
We did it. We did the marathon.
And in spite of everything I said, I believe we've gone over time on every one of these segments. So let's wrap it up quick. Tell them where they can find you, Blake. We're not over here helping me do this, whatever this is.
Well, when we're not doing the RageSelect podcast, I am over at Junk Food Cinema, so you can find us at patreon.com/junkfoodcinema and join our Discord after you join RageSelect's Discord. And hey, you can have a good time and talk to me there.
Yeah, there you go. Patreon.com/RageSelect. If you've listened all the way to the end, chances are you might already be a patron. But if you're not, $5 a month is all it takes to get in there, and it's great. But with that, I feel like I've been doing 5 hours worth of screaming into a microphone, so we're gonna go ahead and call it quits. Everybody out. I have to rest. Jeff.
He's gonna yell at you. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Don't make me yell. Just come on, leave. Go. Bye.